What's the song we playing?
Okay, right above it. All right.
He being nice.
You a hater.
He wanted young boy Carter's.
He want that Carter something bad.
Evilish list.
He want that Carter something bad.
This evilish smirk. He like, yo, what the world?
Hey, bro,
Ain't nobody
welcome,
vibing but you,
bro.
nigga.
Welcome to the Eskimo
I'm
show.
vibing.
Fuck it. Today we got my boy Markis Piper, man. He's a
yeah.
data engineer.
Give it up.
Give it up.
Give it up.
The computer man himself. Stop playing.
My
Round
dog,
about
bro.
some successful black man. I'm glad to be here. What you mean?
Right.
I love it, bro. My dog, he a data engineer. You feel me? A tech founder, a visionary, a man of God. We got a lot to talk about, man. How you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling wonderful, man. I'm great.
Shit, I appreciate you coming, bro. You feel me? Shit, tell the people about yourself a little bit if they don't. If I didn't get you, you feel me?
Oh,
We got
nah.
this-
So,
Kill the DJ.
You good, bro? You look like that.
Nah. So, about me, I come from a small town. It's kind of, I guess we can get into it later, but it's kind of interesting how I got into tech. It wasn't really intentional at all. But I always had a knack for solving problems and actually disrupting things to my parents' annoyance. But it actually led me to engineering, and that's my thing.
So you engineer, a data engineer now.
Yeah.
How long you been a data engineer?
Honestly, that's a pivot. So I was in data engineering, 2022? I was a software engineer. So I kind of started as a web developer, and then I kind of went the full life cycle process. So front end, full stack. Then I got curious. I actually didn't like the back end, but I wanted to, which is like when you click something with the request that actually happens. And I wasn't as good at that, so I took a job at a company called Loyal out of Georgia Tech, an AI natural language processing chatbot company. And I took a job there trying to do like back end API writing, and that job actually has ended up being what led me to data. So
Word, that's a little journey though. So you done had a little bit of everything.
it was, but it was like none of it was planned. It was like accidental.
I feel like a lot of people in tech get into tech and they don't realize what they're getting into. It's one of those
Exactly.
professions.
So can you tell us a little bit about like what data engineering, like what does it entail for the people who don't know?
Absolutely. Okay, so just like other engineering disciplines, I mean, we just solve problems. Every engineering discipline is you are either in the space of creation or innovation. So you are either somebody's hiring you because they have a problem they need to solve. So something doesn't do something and they need it to do something different, or something doesn't exist and they need it to exist. That's every form of engineering, electrical, mechanical. So with data engineering, right? Data is a byproduct of your business process. So when you log in, you're registering for it. Anything that requires anything that is a byproduct of you using an application or anything abstract that you can't touch produces data. And that data can be used to make decisions, but not in its base form. So a data engineer gets requests from the business saying, hey, I need to understand how our business process works, or I need to understand how our customers are interacting with our product. That request comes to a data engineer, and we take the byproducts of that business, we ensure it's stored, and we manipulate and make it actionable, which enables, not only insights, but eventually AI.
Gotcha.
That's what's up. So, the way I'm interpreting this, I'm not in computers like that. I don't.
Okay.
AI and all that. I'm not.
We
the
got-
best
we
when it
got-
comes down.
Yeah, all y'all
Tech
pretty
side
much.
up to here.
Us
Yeah.
two.
And then it's no longer tech
I'm
no
in
more.
healthcare.
I'm
Still business minded.
I'm business. I'm
But-
healthcare. I'm healthcare.
Oh,
So
Okay, for sure.
I'm healthcare.
I'm
but
finance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Healthcare, finance.
I'm more closer to
So
the
we got
finance
two
part
engineers.
of healthcare. So it's like,
Finance.
So pause. What does everyone do? So I'm new here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
so I'll start.
We can go that way,
Start.
bro.
Oh yeah, he can start.
It don't matter.
Shoot, I'm a solutions engineer for a cybersecurity company.
Awesome. So yeah.
I'm getting my master's in cybersecurity right now.
I'm a sales tech consultant, so I work with a company called Data Vault AI. So
Nice.
I'm solutions engineer too. So we got two here.
I say I'm a serial entrepreneur, but primarily real estate investor.
Nice.
I basically, family owns a pediatric office, and so I kind of run the finance. I'm like, I learned to be the CFO.
Okay.
But where my question was coming from was, you were breaking it down. It was like you can create the technology, or you create the answer to a problem for the technology. And you saying this creating, it sounds like art. And so, do you look at what you do as art? And if you do, what side would you prefer to be on?
I didn't look at it as art because when you first, like I do now, but that's a process. When I first graduate, like when you get like my undergraduate degree, like I double majored in math and computer science, but that doesn't mean you know how to be an engineer when you graduate.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like I had the tools, but I had no idea how to use them. Yeah, so. When I got my first junior software engineering job, you know, they kind of just throw problems on your desk. And as you figure out your method of problem solving, because every engineer has a way they go about solving things.
For sure.
Then once you begin to kind of develop that authenticity in your problem solving process, then I think you start to see it as more of an art form and you appreciate what you do. But that comes way later.
Yeah.
I say in the last couple of years. I wouldn't say that was something that was apparent to me early in my career.
Yeah, I can see how that, because it's just you're in the midst of it, and so like me being from the outside,
you're struggling
a
little bit. Like
trying to figure it out,
trying to figure it out.
It makes sense.
You don't know what you don't know yet.
For sure. So then, what side do you rather create or create like something from scratch, or would you rather create something that's like a, if you got a crane and they're trying to figure out how to pick something up, create a better way to pick it up type deal? If that makes sense.
I like both. It depends on how fun it is.
Yeah.
The nature of the problem determines what I might enjoy more. So if I had to pick one though, of course I want to like start from scratch and build my own base, because while it is fun to maybe innovate on top of someone else's solution.
Yeah.
And that's good because you kind of learn what somebody, but you kind of have to understand the way the previous engineer thought about the problem. And you may not agree with it, or I'll even take it a step forward. If you don't understand, you might have to make it work anyway. Because sometimes,
definitely understand that.
Sometimes before ChatGPT, like this, the running joke with software engineers is we were just excellent Googlers, right?
Like how to research, you know how to
research. We go on Stack Overflow, figure something out, and then
Crazy.
And then copy and paste it in. So
for sure.
Problem with that is a lot of engineers sometimes copy and paste stuff and they have no idea what it does. And then later on, you have no idea what it does, because sometimes people are overly complex. So that problem happens enough where you would prefer, when you start appreciating just simplicity, you'd rather just do it yourself.
Makes sense. Definitely makes sense, because I had some thought processes like that with my own business and my own family company and things of that nature. So
it changed the game with the AI and the coding, bro. And like you coded more than I did, so I did a little bit, but you really was what engineer?
Yeah, I started
software engineer.
Yeah, I started programming in 10th grade, man.
So you know the ropes. So now with AI, it's a whole different game, because like you said, you used to just Google, like Stack Overflow is low key non-existent now. That's crazy.
They definitely took a hit.
Crazy. Like this, right? Now you could just put your error code into a LLM and they're gonna tell you what's wrong. So
yes and no.
Do you use that now today? So how you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, AI is not going anywhere. As a coder, I love it because now, because I gotta see. So one thing AI does, it allows you to no longer be framework dependent.
Right.
So a lot of engineers, we all had our niche, because there is such a thing as your tech stack as an engineer. And most engineers are very good in their tech stack. And it's like, we can learn other tech stacks, but most jobs, like I was a .NET developer, so I mainly was in a lot of Microsoft shops, right? A lot of jobs that wanted to hire me, they kind of kept me in that box. But I knew the principles of programming. Could I learn Java? Could I learn Scala? Could I learn these other languages? Sure. But it would take me a little longer. What AI did is, now because I understand the principles of programming, I don't have to know the syntax. I I can write something in the language I know and say convert this to another language, and it's done.
Opens a whole nother road of
So
opportunity.
it makes it so you don't have to, like, the main thing with learning a new tech stack is really syntax. I don't have to care about syntax anymore.
Yeah.
So that it makes you much more efficient.
Opportunities just went out the wazoo.
Oh, you can be so much faster.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with vibe coding?
No, you got to tell me what the concept.
You haven't heard of vibe coding?
No.
So basically, it's been going on for like the last 6 months or so. A lot of young developers are now no longer writing out code no more. They're going to shit like or places like vo.com, Manus. I could put it
Okay,
on where
no
like
code
yo
solutions.
speak to it. Yes, it's no code. You'll speak to it, and then like instead of going through the process of having to actually code, you more so the better you can articulate what you want. It'll go out that, put that whole stack together, build it for you, and then you can make changes by speaking to it. So they're calling it vibe coding now because you just vibing, making ideas as it goes.
I don't know if I
Yeah.
can trust that all the way.
That's why I feel like if you know it,
Yeah, you
it's
have
better.
to know it prior. I feel
Yeah,
like
if you
have
don't
to
know what you're
understand.
doing,
Yeah.
for sure, no. But I think if you know what you're doing,
I was gonna say that,
I
but
don't know.
you should speak more on that. Why wouldn't you trust it?
I mean, you just got to know what you're looking at first. Like,
Correct.
I feel like you got to learn, like you said, the frameworks, the principles. Then you can piece it together. I feel like skipping that step.
It sounds like it's bad for security
and
reasons.
and just skip straight to that. And like after a while, it's gonna,
so you're
Don't
saying
catch
because
up
you
to
don't really know each line, but like big developments, there are millions of lines of code.
Yeah,
Besides the person that wrote it, people ain't going back to check that.
you right. But I mean,
The way he's explaining, it sounds like it's terrible for like security reasons.
That's probably why they can
Yeah.
hack it.
But it also would depend on what the model is trained on. The model can be trained not to fall through these faults that you're saying.
yeah,
So
You gotta be real specific.
the big thing with no code solutions is they are good. They're and they're gonna get better. They're not gonna get worse.
Right.
The problem is it takes apart. There's a degree of customization. So any engineer tell you when you get a ticket in your sprint or in your whatever your software development life cycle is, it never just goes according to plan when you plan the solution.
For people that don't know what a ticket is, could you explain what that is?
Yeah. So a stakeholder in your business makes a request that they need something. Something is broken. Your customer is complaining. When you complain to the IT department, enough of complaints happen. A ticket on the back end
That's
will
me.
go to an engineering team.
That was me.
you
I create
zero.
tickets all the time.
And-
They be mad at me.
And that ticket comes on your desk, and now you have to look at how that solution works, and where you have to do some investigation, figure out where the gaps are,
Yeah.
and try and understand. So when you are trying to develop a new feature, the problem with no code solutions is they're too straightforward, and they assume that everything, like when you understand all the context, everything's fine. We rarely do though.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. That's. I literally just went through something similar to this. I don't know if they use no code solutions or anything like that, but it's a company called Athena that we work with, and so literally I've been needing them. It's like 3 things that I've been needing them to do. They can't do. And so it's like, or the system isn't set up to do that yet. So I've been like creating different type of tickets trying to get this one thing done. But it's like every time I create a ticket, comes back, doesn't work. Create another ticket, word it a little differently, comes back, they can't do it. It took me like 6 tries to finally get them to create a ticket, be very specific. All I needed was a report that gave me timely filing.
Yeah.
So
I
you
couldn't
not
get that at
fucking with
all.
Hood. If he's sending you tickets, you not fucking with him.
Well,
'Cause he said he done sent 6.
Yeah, they couldn't solve the problem. They
I
ain't
feel
give
like
me
it
an
depends
answer.
on how many people complain on it too, and who's complaining.
It was just me.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
It was just me.
I know I
So
deal
yeah, I
with
ain't
that on
fucking
the
with
back
you. If
end
I'm a
too.
solution, I ain't fucking with you.
Yeah, if it's
So-
just
I
one
mean,
person,
you ain't got
they
to.
be like,
It was just me.
Like, bro,
It
what
was
you
like-
mean it's not working, bro?
No, it didn't literally. I needed a report that
Yeah,
gave
yeah,
me
it's just a
something
custom
specific.
report, a custom report.
It's like, so I was telling you about this. The system, there's specific things that our practice does, which makes our practice a little bit better than a lot of companies within the metro Atlanta area, because we're top 6 pediatric office in metro Atlanta area,
Okay,
which is
respect.
huge. And we've been there for like the past 2-3 years. So it's like there's specific things that we do and there's specific reports that we run that make us great because we don't miss appointments. We make sure kids are seen, make sure everybody's taken care of. But we switched to this bigger company and they could not do the little things that we needed.
that makes
well.
sense.
So I'm sitting here like, hey, I need this report. I can't move without this report. I got the CFO, the real CFO in my ear. He like, hey, I need to know this. I need to know that. I'm like, I'm sitting here trying to run these reports, but I can't get an accurate number.
Switch to a smaller company.
Yeah, I'm about
So
to say
that's the
switch to
thing.
a small company.
We work smaller.
bro.
We work with smaller companies, and they're not
shit.
efficient though.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
the problem
it's a trade off.
Bigger companies don't need your business as much.
at all.
So
And
that's why bigger companies show respect to other bigger companies, but
For
there's
sure.
a bit of a caste system with businesses. Like,
For
for
sure.
instance, a smaller company that needs your business more, they're going to have a much more experienced customer success team
Yep.
because they're hurt more if you lose your business.
Yeah.
So priority wise, like in his situation, you're saying that his company
we on the back burner.
they on the
They
back
would be on, because
We're on
you
the
got to
back
think,
burner,
if
for
I'm
sure.
a
You can
bigger
tell.
company and so for instance, I had this situation where I worked in a company called Cellular. They did distributed systems. So what that means is they did sensors, all these sensors, like say you're shipping very expensive materials by railway. You would have sensors on that rail car in case somebody, steals your stuff or things like that, or they have elevator sensors of that nature. So
It's a money making.
and it's the weight that the
yeah, the sensors are checking weight. They're checking to see if somebody opened that door, like anything like that.
Probably.
So the thing that made that company special is the sensors were integrated with cell towers. So you can't cut the power and think you're not going to get alerted if you try and steal something,
Right.
because it's going to
Wireless.
operate as
It's wireless.
So we had multiple customers. We had Verizon as a customer. We had AT. Verizon used to just tell us, okay, we're sunsetting 3G now. We're sunsetting. We're doing, and it's like they'll tell us a
They
week or
changed
so
the company.
before, and it's like from their perspective,
Yeah.
we're Verizon. We don't care.
We don't care. Ain't on me. That's how you can tell. That's how them companies
Fix it.
think.
Like
Exactly how they think, bro.
You
deal
can tell
with
us how
it.
they think.
Yeah.
It's the same as like eating at a mom and pop
But
shop
e-
versus going to
like for
Yeah.
for Verizon,
chain
you're
restaurant.
you make enough for us to do business with you, but you're not one of our top
Decision
customers.
maker.
Right.
So from our perspective, we're not going to tell you ahead of time we're sunsetting in a time. Like, no, deal with it in a week or so, or just don't do business with us. But who else you going to go to? AT&T? Like you don't have
is
that
sunset?
many.
When they get cut through, they don't give.
Means they like
Y'all
cut
gotta
it.
watch
They
these
stop
documentaries.
discontinuing.
They switch up, what
and
they're
they
doing.
they don't care if you know ahead of time.
Now
That's
we on
exactly-
5G. What LTE?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's like that sounds exactly
3G
what like.
stands for third generation, fourth generation. 4G. Yeah. So that's
So like
we
you
on
heard
now?
of Validity?
We're
5G.
5G
LTE.
still. Don't China got something faster?
Shoot, I wouldn't be surprised.
Did they just
Yeah.
be making that shit up? Like, is it shit? Like how iPhone gets created every year and they is supposedly supposed to, update, get better. Are they just withholding things to?
Yes.
Yes,
Apple.
they're definitely hoping.
They have
Apple's
to. Unless
the
they're
guys
gonna.
who put
They come
technology
up with something new every quarter. they got stuff set up for the next 5
Yeah,
years.
that
Yeah.
real strong shit they always have in advance, but at the same time, Moore's law, it basically says that the acceleration of technology goes like this, and then it's a hockey stick, and then it goes like that.
Stays flat.
We're kind of at that point right now where it's about to that's why AI
Exponentially
take
go.
off. Yeah, like every 4 months it's OD. Like every
Yeah.
4 months.
And that was gonna be my next question. Oh, did you have something?
Oh nah, I was agreeing with Dre.
That's
I
why I
was-
think it's important to pay attention to the AI shit now. Not because there's flaws now. So when there's
Yeah.
still flaws,
You can
that's
figure
when
it
you're
out.
supposed to be
Figure
paying
it out.
attention because
Yeah.
soon they're not going to be flaws. And the ones that can take advantage of the tech when there's no flaws are the people that was playing with it when there was flaws. When it's too late,
Like the market,
you
bro.
feel me? So you gotta be adapt right now.
Just like the
What
market.
was you finna say though?
My next question. Well, we had talked about it earlier. I was gonna ask it earlier, but with me kind of being new in tech, and I know I spoke with John about this. It's like it be feeling like I'm drinking from a fire hydrant because it's so much new shit coming
You gotta
out
get used
all
to
the time,
that's
all the
what
time.
that's part of.
So
the
that's why I was
solution.
gonna ask, like, what would be your advice as far as for somebody new jumping into tech and just to be able to keep up and at least keep a steady ground up underneath them, like moving forward.
So what I would say with that, first, understand the nature of your field you're going into.
Mm-hmm.
Tech is not like other fields in that it evolves very quickly.
Mhm.
So to thrive in tech, you have to be someone that's okay with flux.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like one of those things, if you know something's coming, like, if you can't change it, then how do you adapt to it?
You have to be agile.
You have to be agile. So one,
adjust and overcome.
You gotta be agile.
Remember when we was talking, he was asking about tech, and I was saying, it's like It's not always that I'm into all the little gears.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm really curious, and I think that's
what
Yeah.
it'd be for
good
me too. That's what I
skill
started to
set.
notice.
Like if you're
To be
curious
curious
and
and always
adaptable,
want to know.
you'll be good with
Yeah.
tech.
Yeah,
Like
'cause I
those
noticed-
people that's trying to just be like a blacksmith
No
and just
cap.
do one thing all day, that's just over with.
Some people,
Yeah.
if you are someone that leans towards comfort, tech is not,
It's not
your
it.
field.
It's
It's
not
not. It's
it.
not. It changes too much.
Yeah.
Like you got to think,
Mm-hmm.
a computer that comes out 2 years ago,
Already out there.
1 year later, that stuff is like ancient.
And now it's like 6 months, and
Yeah,
it's just gonna
it's-
keep going. Like
Mm-hmm.
So you got quantum computing coming out that's
Yeah.
going to change the
that's
entire.
the hidden bomb.
That
That's what they ain't talking about.
I was gonna say
Right.
save that for later in
Such
the
a
segment.
bomb.
We gotta talk about that. We got
AI is not the thing people should be concerned
AI
about. But
plus
anyway,
quantum.
quantum computing with AI,
Yeah, it's over with.
it's disgusting.
Real stop playing.
So
Yeah,
what I would
wait for
say
that
the
one.
number 2 thing is you treat it like every other field. You have to operate from self-awareness.
Mm.
Front end, people that love front end and UI UX are very different from people that love back end. Are very different from people that love networking. Are very different from people that love cybersecurity. Are very different from people that love platform engineering. Are very different from people that love distributed systems. And data engineering is very so
There's
every
layers to this shit, young boy.
niche in tech. People that love cybersecurity on some level want to be a detective. They want to do digital forensics. They want to find out how they want to think like cybersecurity people think like a criminal and think about how does your system work, and they think about how would I break into it.
Yep.
And then they think about, okay,
How
well,
do
now that I know how I would break into it, how would I defend
I was
against it?
just about to say the only thing that made me interested in cybersecurity, because I started at that. I was
Fuck with cybersecurity
I was,
heavy.
I was a SOC analyst for like 2.5 years. Only thing that was interesting was going to those dark hackathons and like learning how they break into us. That's real interesting because you gotta learn that in order to defend it.
Yeah. Honestly, I think of cybersecurity a lot like playing corner for real.
It is.
Like that's basically
In the
what it
sense
is,
that
bro.
you're
Oh, wait, help me explain-
disadvantaged
help me
all
explain.
times.
Space to
Yes.
cover.
How do I
Oh,
explain that?
because you're
Because
on
you're
the frenzy.
you're on
at
the
a
reaction.
disadvantage, yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
like at corner, you're just on the reaction. You're backpedaling, trying to base your stuff off
Gotta
of what the
break.
receiver's running.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you're doing.
I
with
remember the
person
first
that broke
conference
into
I
your
went
shit.
to. It was like cybersecurity versus hackers. If this is a football game, the hackers are up 78-3, and it's
That's
the first
exactly
Oh
it.
yeah, for sure.
Because it's
I beat
always
that.
something
like,
new that they're
yeah.
coming out with.
To be great at cybersecurity, you have to think like a hacker.
That's it.
That's really, you got to
Like-
kind of think like if you're
And-
someone that's kind of made plays a lot of your life and
Mhm.
kind of figured out ways around systems and
That's
stuff,
funny, yeah.
you'll be really good at cybersecurity.
Yes.
'Cause
That's the
they
home.
want you to think like,
That's a fact.
how would you get into this?
That's why when they
You
be
gotta have
catching
ethical
niggas that
hacking.
like be Bitcoin hacking, they'll be like, all right, do you want to go to jail or do you want
Or
to
do
be a
you
part of
wanna-
our team?
Those
You
people
feel me?
disappear.
Like,
They don't
catch
just go to jail.
No cap.
Yeah.
They be like,
Don't catch
like you know some
I
shit.
think we need to give it up for Dre for that analogy. That was a good analogy.
Okay.
That was a great analogy.
Like,
for the people that
I be
that's
learning,
a great way
bro.
to break it
Yeah,
down.
come on,
for
yeah.
them. That's
Yeah.
a-
Learning, bro.
I like that. I like that
Because it's what the fuck was I about to say?
you can't boost them up too
Hey,
much.
just let it be. Just let it be. You should have took your. You should have took your.
I was about to say, just to add on to D West's point, Bobby, 783, like every company uses different softwares, different systems. They all have vulnerabilities. So it's like, that's why cyber's so big. I just want to add on to what you were saying.
That's why
I
it's
deal with
always
that every day.
available. Cybersecurity will
Yeah.
always
No, it's
be
one of
available.
Do it every
the
day.
most
Yeah.
understaffed fields.
It is.
So,
Forever.
okay, what's
What's up?
happening in tech right now is kind of what's happening in medicine. There's not as much money in being a family practitioner
At
as
all.
it used to be.
Nope.
There's not
But there's
nothing.
money in being a cardiologist, ENT, like a specialized.
Specialist,
Let me
yeah.
tell you. Let me put it like this: cardiologist making 500 racks.
That's the top.
Pediatrician is making 120.
What
Max.
does a cardiologist do?
Heart.
Heart.
surgeons.
They don't even do. They don't even got to be a
I
surgeon.
need to
Just
make
heart
sure.
anything.
Just a heart doctor. They're
Pediatrics
going
kids.
like 400 racks,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
Pediatricians, which should be probably one of the highest paid physicians,
children, it's the
because
youth.
that's the
That's
future.
key.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the-
Exactly.
Same
But-
like comparing teachers to.
I've always said teachers should be more
They
paid.
should be more paid.
That would
They
make the
should.
world a better place.
Either more paid or just 100% taken care of.
Also,
Facts.
Just take care of them.
They should
already,
have the ben-
they
Yeah.
already got all they got all the breaks and everything. You
They
might as
should
well
have
just
a fully covered pension, all that.
put them
like,
in a,
take
put,
them-
put all the teachers in a
Cause that would
how they do
make
the
it
athletes.
It's
better.
the teachers in the South, bro. You go up north, education different, bro.
it,
Oh yeah,
Is
for
it?
sure.
That's
Different.
facts.
But I'm gonna be real though. The teachers in the South are legit. No
it
disrespect.
depends on
My
where you
aunties
go
are
in the
teachers,
South.
but at a lot of the teachers here, they don't take their profession seriously.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them, I ain't gonna lie. For a lot of, I've had a lot of bro, a lot of shitty teachers, bro.
Me too.
They get reimbursed for what they actually produce. Georgia is like one of the lowest schools in the country.
Shit,
That's
North
also
Carolina too.
because Georgia cuts the education budget more than any other
Oh
state.
me.
It's their entire South, bro.
I know it's different. It was rough for you out there because where you come
What?
from, it's a small area. Like South Georgia and far East Georgia, they don't have half the books that we got in the city. They don't have the updated books
So
that
I
we
wanna
got in the
speak on
city.
that.
It's
He's correct.
crazy, bro. I did a whole project on this in middle school.
So let me. This is what's funny about that. So he's right. In where I'm from is actually one of the worst counties in
What
Georgia.
county is that?
Richmond County.
Richmond County. Okay.
So
South Georgia.
is that Augusta?
It's
No?
East Georgia.
that's so
close.
Hepzibah is close to Augusta. It's not
Okay.
far. Richmond
Augusta
County is
two
just
counties,
really
right?
big because it's like Georgia's like they have really big counties.
Yeah.
So I actually got into an accelerated program, right? This IB program, which is like this
Intellect-
International Bachelor.
Bachelor.
It's above
It's
AP.
international-
It's
yeah.
the highest.
No. Well,
It is. I went to IB middle school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was terrible. I did not do well. I hated it. But when I left, I ended up going to one of the worst high schools in Georgia.
I'm already knowing.
But what's funny is that's how I got into programming.
From going to one of the worst high schools.
So
Mason.
I went to this high school and it was easy. I'm talking about the
Sean
stuff I
Mark.
was doing at IB.
Like you
The
was
stuff I was
bored.
doing at IB in one class, they were doing like in their like 1 year in IB was like their entire senior curriculum.
Yeah.
Like I was so, even though I didn't do it, I was so ahead.
Yeah.
So what's crazy is, this guy, John, like I ended up wanting to, I didn't know I didn't know you can go on a field trip in high school. Like it was like a concept that was foreign to me. I was
That's
like,
crazy.
"Fuck, you can do that?"
Yeah.
And so this guy was like, "Yo, you got to go to these field trips. These state competitions, they so lit." So I was like, "Okay, how do you go? You got to join the club."
Mm-hmm.
The club I joined is FBLA, Future Business Leaders. of America,
FBLA go
which is-
crazy in Georgia.
What?
They
Yeah,
got-
it's
Georgia
so,
go
like,
They
crazy.
they got
if
that
you
North
miss
Carolina
out
too.
in high
I
school,
missed out.
FBLA was
I ain't gonna lie.
crazy.
Yeah, they
Go
had
and
that.
do it.
they
I
had that
done
North
seen it.
I'm gonna
Carolina.
tell you why. I'm gonna tell you it. So, Buddy told me like, okay, if you want to go to state, you gotta compete
Got to.
join. So I joined. I'm like, okay, I just want to go on the trip because they telling me, okay, this why it's lit, right?
Mhm.
Every high school in Georgia with an FBLA in Atlanta in one hotel.
Yeah. In one hotel.
And all in one.
And they
Wait,
all
what
competed.
city was
I
it all
seen
for
the
y'all?
emblem.
It was in
Like, it's
Atlanta.
all
It was
over
in
the
Greensboro,
place,
North
like the
Carolina.
It was in
our state
Atlanta.
competition.
It was in
I think
Atlanta.
it's
For
No,
it
that
was
shit
at the
got
Hyatt.
No, they
The Hyatt downtown.
Quick.
That
Bro.
jump was
That
crazy.
shit got
Bro,
greasy.
FBLA.
quick.
Listen,
FBLA.
I used to hate FBLA. Everybody, all the
What do
people
y'all
that was in FBLA, I didn't
compete
rock with them. Man, I joined the FBLA my junior year.
Is that a black school
No,
thing?
sophomore year.
Nah, because
Yeah.
my school had that. Like,
Oh,
a lot
yeah,
of
okay,
places
I'm
had
about to
that.
say.
My
Yeah,
school,
FBLA.
East Cobb, they didn't have it.
It's
You
the
went
FBLA.
to private school, though.
FBLA.
Future Business Leaders of
America.
America. So
I
you're
did.
like,
My senior
you're like
year.
creating
Advanced
any.
What's the
They did?
competition?
They had it,
That's
They,
what I'm
they
on.
all.
I can't even remember,
When
bro.
I joined, so they have multiple events. It's not
Yep.
just one. So somebody was like, okay, you want to go on the trip? He said the trip's so late. If you want to go to the trip, you join the club. I go to join the club, and because I joined late, there's only one office left. I was like, okay, so what do? They was like, well, the only office left is webmaster. I was like, okay, what is that? They was like, you got to make a website. I was like, you can. I was in 10th grade. I was like, you can do that. They was like, yes, we got to change your electives. So
What year is this?
this was 2000. This was before the tech wave, so this might have been
20
It's
13?
pre-Wix and all
Probably
that.
2009.
Nah, I was gonna say,
This is pre-Wix
This
and
is
pre
pre all that shit.
all that. Okay.
So I ended up getting on the wave beforehand, but I wasn't trying to. I was just trying to go on a field trip, and this shorty I knew was bad was going, so I was definitely trying to.
There it goes. There it goes. I was waiting for it. That's it.
That's the real reason.
Right, that's the real reason. What was her name, nigga?
Shout her out. What's the IG? I know you follow her.
Oh,
still.
no, she done. But this shorty named Jasmine was going. I was like, yo, I gotta.
It's always a
Okay,
Jasmine. I
okay,
joined FBLA
okay,
because of a
okay.
Jasmine too. I'm not gonna
so
hold
I
you.
was like, definitely. So
Mad Jasmine.
Jasmine Brown.
there we go. Okay, so
Hey, said know what I'm on.
like,
Thinking about naming
like you
your
got to
daughter
be a
Jasmine?
webmaster.
Yeah.
I joined the elective. They switched all my electives. They start teaching me like HTML5, like core HTML, like old school HTML, like
that?
super old shit.
You might as well
So-
code and go.
Yeah,
You know what I
basically.
mean?
So I'm doing that, but I competed and I got third in my region, and then I went to state.
Yeah.
And I ain't even get shorty, but the trip was crazy. Like I ain't even care. The trip was great. Like
weekend
I mean, shit,
trip.
shout out her though.
Yeah.
like it's a high
She
school
producing
my kids
opportunities.
First time
in
in
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Been
So
around that
women
many
led
people.
you to coding.
Yeah, for sure.
Lovely.
Beauty is a
sure.
motherfucker.
I love that.
Like for
I
sure.
love
Women
that.
led
I
me to
love that.
program for
I
sure.
love that. Women motivate a lot of
But
things.
FBI,
They so
had all types of-
influential.
They had all types of events and stuff like
Women
that.
are so influential.
My,
dog.
They are.
Hey, my,
They
my,
are.
hey.
They the main
Niggas
motivator.
see.
They don't
niggas see
realize they
female
run the world on the low.
validation for sure.
Nah.
Indirectly, they run it.
So when you were learning
Indirect.
coding,
Indirect.
like what did you do to help you like really learn that shit? Because I know with certain different coding languages, a lot of them have all different kinds of words to use to make sure, or commands to use to make sure you get the right shit across.
So I don't know if this is true now. That's an excellent question. At the time, I would actually say front end is probably the best introduction to coding because there's less logic.
Okay.
When you do front end, it's just the structure.
Mhm.
And coding is all abstract. So front end is the only thing you can see something.
Okay.
So I can code something, I immediately refresh the page and I can see what I did.
Mhm.
I can change the color, refresh the page, I know it's there. So that wasn't that bad because it had a visual aspect. That's why I started as a web developer.
Mhm.
Now, my first Java class I actually failed.
No, I'm in Java right now. That's why I
That-
asked. Java's a motherfucker.
That was
I ain't gonna
that
lie.
was a mind like that. I
like
struggled.
someone got a fire hose right in
Yes.
your
Out of
face.
every class I took in college, the only course where I really had to lock in and like there's no other way if I
Programming.
don't lock in was programming.
Bro, this
You-
Java
you
shit
need a
is
B
no
minus to
joke.
advance.
There's no
You
other
don't- that's
way.
the
I
weed
had
out
to lock
class.
myself in that room. Like, nah, you ain't got no other if, ands, or buts.
So,
Fuck with it because it's interesting though.
Yeah.
bro. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the
It's
weed
like-
out
it's basically
class for
learning
tech.
another
That's
shit.
y'all version
You're
of
learning another language.
Biology or
Bio.
yeah, bio.
Bio-
Bio 2.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
weed
I
out
was
class.
interested.
Bio 1 was straight. Bio 2.
But
bro.
I wish I had AI when I was learning coding because that's what
Yeah,
I
we
was
all
about to
do.
bring it back to the teachers. and
Yeah,
stuff.
That's what I'm
we
doing.
would- We wouldn't have struggled.
AI
if we had
is-
AI.
AI is a better teacher
It's
than most
good we
teachers.
learned it
All
now. 'Cause
teachers.
I feel
Not
like
all,
it's
most.
good we learned it prior to AI.
I agree.
I agree.
Well,
I agree because
it
we learned the
depends.
principles
We learned the
first.
principles.
It depends on how you use it.
I ain't coding in 4
Right.
years. I can still piece something
But-
together.
But those that don't know the principle can use AI to learn the same
Yeah,
principle.
exactly.
We know
That's how I
that
use
we know. If you the people use AI like Google, that's not how you're supposed to use it.
No.
Like, if you could use it like a tutor or like have it interview you and teach you, it's gonna know you and it's gonna learn it in your way of learning.
Exactly.
Better
That's
than
actually
most
been-
teachers will. So you're accelerated. That's why what you call it, the Shopify CEOs, like everybody got to use AI because AI basically 10x's the average person.
It does.
Yeah, I believe that.
So you're gonna learn it faster. Like I guess it's better because we had to go about it the hard way.
I mean,
But
I
at the same
guess,
time,
but that's how I'm using chat
what-
right now. Like whenever
They
I'm
teach you,
getting
right?
stuck on like a certain problem, whenever I'm coding some shit, I'm
Mhm.
like, bro, I know this set of information, but I don't know how to put it into the necessary line statement that I need to have in this specific code. And then they'll be like, all right, cool, I understand that you were close here. Let me try to fill you in on the lines and show you where you messed up at. And then after that shit helps me for the next couple of
I mean,
problems.
it's ultimately a better
You know how
thing
it's
because
cool,
there's
though?
I was-
specificity to it.
I'll tell you how I
Yeah,
see it though.
I
Before
think
you
the-
go, like I look at AI to words that the calculator was to numbers, essentially. I feel that. You know what I mean?
You gotta know the right
Probably
equation to put in.
Real knowledge.
You gotta know the right.
Yeah,
Right,
I was
which
gonna
is
say.
Acting
why-
like that's normal.
I was gonna
But
say
go ahead.
that.
Which is why I look at
Yeah, I was- no, I mean,
let me
that's
double down
my
on
point.
that. Let me double down on that. AI, I tell these niggas all the time, AI is like the limitless pill. If you seen the movie Limitless, where
Yeah.
you take the pill, it makes anybody smarter,
Yeah.
but it makes smarter people smarter. So it matters how
That's
smart
not
you
normal,
are
though.
before
yeah.
taking it.
And-
Either
Bruh,
way,
I was
that's,
about
that's
to-
the biggest problem with AI.
I was about to say, so like from my standpoint with my job, bro, like my CMO, CEO, they tell me to use AI. They
Shit,
tell me to
that
use
too.
AI.
There's
But the
you
thing
have
is, so
like
now,
knowledge,
but the
though.
thing is, I feel like I done got like way smarter, like just using it and understanding, and it's done been a quick like ramp up for me to be able to understand what I'm talking about, understand different technology stacks and X, Y, and Z. But then it's like, where does the line get drawn to where we become dependent on it? You know what I'm saying? Because I use AI for everything down there. My AI is my assistant.
Let me
So
ask
it's
you
like,
And that's like a good and a bad. Like
Go ahead.
me personally, I've been thinking about this for a little minute. It's been like big on my mind. When you start using AI, like AI is supposed to be like the newer version of Google, I'm guessing. But it's like when you're using it like it's Google, it lowers your brain's not gonna fire the same because now you're not thinking the way that you normally would. You're not truly researching. You're missing like the fundamentals of the ability to research. like researching is key. Researching is a skill, and I don't think people understand how big of a skill research
So that's what
is.
I'm saying. It's like a trade off. So it's like you losing that skill, but you gaining the information like that.
Yeah, you gain information like that.
And
but
if you
miss
able
the
to commit
fundamentals.
things
Well, let me
to
piggyback
memory.
off what he just said to help you. So, what Wes said is true, but most people will not think like that.
At
Leaders
all.
do. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Say one more time. What he said? What he said?
He said that it makes smart people smarter. I would say it makes people okay. If you're building a house, do you feel dumber for using a hammer to do a nail?
To hammer and nail.
What I
Like,
use dumb.
like,
what I feel
do you
dumb.
feel any less of a person because you're using a hammer? To
And
hammer
would you
a
feel
nail?
any
No.
less if you get an automatic hammer instead of
See,
a
you
manual
don't-
hammer?
Oh, okay,
I-
okay.
It's
okay,
all
I got
just
you.
a tool.
It's
bro.
just a tool.
It's just a tool.
It's just a
tool,
tool.
dog.
That's it.
Once you become
But
dependent.
to his point, what makes the tool special is when you understand research.
Mm.
AI, all it does, it is an algorithm. So it's like oh god, I don't want to go into linear algebra.
It's a word
How do I-
predictor.
Right.
I wasn't gonna go into linear algebra, but
Go to linear
But
algebra.
that's what it
bro.
is. It turns
Let's
words
go.
into math
but
equations. That's what it
that's
is.
okay, so
It's linear algebra.
what it is linear algebra. Okay, so what AI is, it works by pattern recognition and it works by series and sequences and prediction. So it looks at a series of things and it anticipates based off the sequence of what it's seen before what the next thing is with a lot of accuracy. But the difference is when you understand research, you have to know that AI is not the best at identifying truth.
Yeah.
That is where it
that's my
struggles.
biggest
That's his
thing.
flaw.
That's its flaw.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I had I actually got a
Generative
job
AI.
last year as a
Hallucinates.
data annotator. What a data annotator does is it's when an AI algorithmic company just gives you some freelance work. It's not for much, maybe like $20, $30 an hour if you're not bored, and saying, hey, test our algorithm and tell us if it's correct. AI is actually kind of stupid
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
crazy.
bad at
You have to train it.
identifying the type of .orgs, .edus, things like that, like peer-reviewed research. It's bad at identifying. It's extremely good when you tell it what truth is
And-
and manipulating truth.
Yep.
So I got a question right quick. Let me pause you right there. So is that to piggyback off of that conversation we was having with Remy about optimistic versus pessimistic? Is that what you was getting at, Fetty, when you were saying that
You was talking about the
certain
definitions.
things,
And
certain
Yeah, you
things
have
that
to
you think-
train it a certain way.
You know how I
That's
look
what
at
that's
it?
what it's called. You're
To be
training the
honest,
model. You have to train it.
AI is currently an extremely smart child.
Yes.
You have to
Train it.
teach
You
it's
have
this
to train it
child
right.
It's a smart ass.
That was my point. What you
how
were saying,
to be what it
Sid.
needs to be, but
Gotta
it's
train
not
it.
always going to
Train
be a
Tell the
child.
child what the
This-
facts are.
The more
going
you
to
use
grow
it,
up.
Yes.
yeah, the more you use
But
it,
right
better it's
now-
gonna be.
So
What's the
Exactly.
difference? Is there a different? What's the difference between large language model and AI? Is there a difference? Or?
Large
No.
language model is the verbal form of AI. Like
Yes.
it's basically generative AI, meaning that if it searches all of the web, like you said, an equation, statistically, if you say Mary had a little, the next word is going to be lamb.
Lamb.
Because that's what it's used to seeing.
It's going to have a sequence with a
But there's
confidence in it.
more versions of AI. That's just one island of AI. There's far more islands than just the LLM and generative model. Like AGI, which is what is in question if it's here, if it will be here in the future. So that's bots going out and doing what they need to is more than just a LLM. You feel me? So it gets deeper. But the main AI, like ChatGPT, what people know AI to be, is LLM models. Like Claude, Grok, Llama,
Anthropic.
DeepSeek, GPT, they're all different versions of LLMs.
Okay.
I've been seeing Grok a lot.
Yeah.
Gemini everywhere.
Not as good.
Gemini,
It's not as good.
yeah.
As
Watson
it's not
X.
what.
Whoop.
Think about this. Musk is doing like 5 things right now,
Oh, so
and
that's
he's
Musk.
not God. He can't do 5 things
At all. Can't.
He has Grok. He has X.
SpaceX,
He
yeah.
has SpaceX. He has Tesla. And Tesla's now trying to vote him out because they're saying you're doing too.
Yeah,
you're
this,
doing
this
too
is
much.
their, but this is their second. This is their
They got
second
the
time trying to do
underground
that.
company
Though.
too. They don't talk about
But
that.
I would understand if I was on the board. Wouldn't you want like,
Yeah,
bro, like
yeah.
you?
So did he started he started Tesla, right?
Nah,
Nah,
He
he
started,
low-key-
he
low-key,
changed-
like,
he
he got
took
the
it to
idea.
another.
He
level.
He started
manipulated.
what? PayPal, right?
He-
It
Yeah.
was
So,
in the
yeah.
PayPal
Okay.
So
model.
PayPal.
Nah,
PayPal,
he- no, he
SpaceX
started
are his.
PayPal.
He was the
Tesla,
main
came
person.
in
He
yeah, he's the
came
main
in.
person of the
'Cause
PayPal.
that's always something that's been like kind of fascinating. to
He
me, where, like
financially
you can
finessed
you can
Tesla.
kind of
Yeah.
start something
He had
and then
PayPal.
create a board, and then your board can damn near vote you out.
Yes.
But that's
Which
not,
is
but that's not how
that's
that
actually
went though.
crazy.
But
So like
But that's why I'm asking. I didn't know
So,
if
like,
that's how that went with him. Or
Elon Musk, PayPal sold PayPal, got the money off of PayPal. Then he went and met the guys that were doing some building of lithium cars. They actually already had the first version of Tesla created. He got involved with those
money,
guys. He was the big money that they
Yeah.
needed into the thing, and he basically bought them out and started like manipulating the car to make it make more sense, to make it work a little better. He used his brain. Brother's a genius the way he did.
he
it.
low key whitelisted it and made it
Huh?
better. Oh,
Bro,
yeah.
that's all this
Yeah.
is, bro. That's all life is, bro.
He's
Yeah.
a physics and
He-
finance major. What he's good at, SpaceX and Tesla are his niche.
Yeah,
he's
he
a
needs to stay
physics
with
and
those
finance
fight back,
major.
nigga.
Fight back, lame ass nigga. Damn.
Fight back.
But
Went down the wrong pipe.
this
Pause.
whole social
Pause.
media,
I said pause. I said pause.
Whoa.
I know that type of call. Pause. Pause.
That's the bullshit I was talking
Whoa.
about. I'm sorry. That's the bullshit I was talking about. I was wondering if you was okay.
Like,
Whoa.
Fight back. God damn. Let me put this shit down.
All right.
Should just beat my
Back to what you were saying. I'm sorry.
no, his specialty, he's extreme. I mean, this is a guy that built a video game and sold it when he was 14
14
years old.
yeah.
He's in physics and in the area of business finance. He is brilliant.
One of the few people that take a physics class and not be enrolled in the school.
Exactly.
Like he just went and took the class just for the heck of it.
He
Like
be reading the textbook.
when Tesla was about done, he sunk the rest of his money from PayPal, and he came up with the design for the Model 3,
Yeah.
which is what shifted Tesla's trajectory.
Because they would have never blew.
They would not have blew.
Yeah, they
He
only had
he
the
made
first
the first. It's not that he made the first electric car. He made the most affordable one.
Right.
Because the electric before that, they were insane. They were not something that you could just be somewhat not rich and buy.
I wouldn't be driving no Tesla right now. I promise you that.
I think same. I'm driving a Tesla too, and it always irritates me too because I'll do like Uber Black, and I'll pick people up.
Yeah.
And you know how politics is rolling into this shit now, but it was like people would get in the car, and I just remember this one lady, she's arguing with me, and she talking about something like, what has Elon Musk done? Like, cause she was like, you know,
That's so crazy though.
and she talking,
Now,
you
people
know,
be hating.
you know, I don't be,
Yeah.
I be trying to stay neutral, and I just be like, bro, listen, at the end of the day, bro, like, motherfucker smart as fuck.
He is.
And I was saying that, and they was like, well, like, what has he done? And I'm just like, that's just so ignorant.
That's a-
People gonna hate
can-
you
can be on
regardless,
one
bro.
side, but you can't pretend.
People
like the
gonna
man
hate
is
you
not
regardless,
smart,
bro. People gonna hate you for
The
whatever you
man
do,
has
bro.
an irreplaceable degree of okay, I'll give you a perfect example. What happened to Apple stock when Tim Cook left?
Facts.
When it was so now Tim Cook had a reputation for being a dictator
Yep.
and being a terror. Like they were
a
afraid.
terrorist.
They say he used to have a bell he would ring where he would just fire people.
Yeah.
Like
Not
we did
real.
a case study on how menacing he was, but they went and got him back, and the second he comes back, the iPod
Yep.
happens, and their stock goes zoop.
Straight up.
So Elon Musk is the type of visionary that does not come around very often. That is true.
Rational.
But that does not mean he can run a country. He can run a social media group, and he can run an AI company.
Yeah.
He is someone
I'm
that-
a little power hungry.
He should have. He should have definitely stayed.
Like no,
He should have stayed Tesla, SpaceX, and then the AI, the Grok AI thing that you say.
yeah, he's doing
Once he started,
too much.
once he bought X,
Yeah,
it was
the
it
X,
was slow.
yeah, the
You
social
gotta stay in the
media-
same vertical,
He
bro.
bought
That's the only
X,
way
yeah,
you can
same.
really.
That's the
you
world's
gotta stay in the
biggest
same-
microphone.
You can't.
That's what
you
he bought
can't
X for.
be good at everything at the expense of being great at anything.
anything, yeah.
There's no point
So does he have anything with Boeing Company? Is that him?
with Boeing.
No, he's not Boeing.
I don't.
He's
not
he's-
Boeing.
I don't know, but he.
Boeing is
he's
the
I'm sure he
Boring
does.
company?
Boeing, like
Boeing.
the planes.
He has
Plane?
the boring.
The boring
company.
company is
Boring
different. Yeah,
He
it's
has the
different.
boring company. That's
I
the
think it said
underground.
Boeing.
Underground.
Yeah,
I thought
right.
that. So
Boeing as
Boeing
well.
is what?
Boeing's space
Plane.
plane.
Yeah, I
That's
thought you
his
said
competitor.
Boeing.
Yeah, that's what
Boeing
I
is
heard.
his
but
competitor.
Boring. That's what you.
Boring. That's what I meant. Okay.
boring
That's the
company. Niggas
underground
don't be
roads,
talking
and
about
yeah, that's
And
another one.
That's what I was thinking. Okay.
He got the underground roads from LA to Vegas or something like that.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Like they take
You
your
do
car
got a lot
underground,
going
you
on,
drive
bro.
on the
And
tunnel.
now he's taking on America as like a side project.
Like
No,
exactly.
facts,
yeah,
facts,
project.
facts,
Let's
facts.
see if I can
Because
fix
Side mission. Yeah.
literally.
over
bro.
the last few years, unfortunately, America has become a degree of I'm American. I'm a capitalist by nature, right? All of you are. We're business owners.
Business,
Clearly,
right,
we're
right,
business
right,
owners.
right,
But
Be capitalist.
And everybody
Very
is,
capitalist.
but that's a whole different.
that's
Yeah, very
the,
Whole other conversation.
So-
everybody is.
But America has now become a degree of predatory capitalism that's not exactly what capitalism is supposed to be. And that makes sense that now Musk is damn near the second most powerful. He's actually running the country.
Country
right
for
now.
sure.
I'll
I
say,
say-
I give him more powerful over Trump, bro.
I was
Brother
I
Shadow
know,
Hawk,
I
bro.
feel like
He
too, like
running the country. Like,
every person, every decision is made because of someone's selfish intent, and people are like, oh, you don't think
Correct.
about nobody else, but someone's gonna benefit from that selfish
Right.
intent, regardless, right?
Yeah.
And
So
the tariffs on
Everybody has
China-
that's just what it is, bro. Like,
I don't think
everybody
people know this though. The tariffs on China indirectly help Tesla's skyrocket because what's happening right now is China's has this car that's Elon Musk's #1 competitor right now overseas, and yeah, it's a SUV, but they also got a regular car too. It's a cheap electric vehicle.
That motherfucker nice.
Yeah, it is nice. I see it. It's nice.
It is. Nah, China got a crazy cheap electric vehicle that's on par with Tesla.
He's stupid.
And the tariffs,
Yo,
but all I'm saying is to get at the tariffs on China being this aggressive indirectly help Tesla big. Like it's kind of crazy for them to the idea of everything to working out. I think it's like this playing exactly how they wanted it to.
well, so you got to think about it. China is one of the hardest places to do business because they're not just they're communists, right?
Yeah.
The government
Don't follow the
controls
rules. They
business.
do what they
There's
want
no
to do.
rules.
Do what they want.
But why is it that Musk got a factory in China? That should
Exactly.
tell you something. Like
Exactly.
that actually should be a conflict of interest for him running the government. But regardless,
think
Okay,
that-
so they also did this though. So they was talking about it was a little minute ago because I was big on Tesla's stock around this time last year. He was looking at closing his factory in China and doubling down on his factories in India
in Belgium, Yep.
and Arabic countries,
Mhm.
which was like it just all like adds up when you start seeing all these different things. Like this man, Elon, a lot of Trump's decisions is Elon Musk is definitely.
See why
in
you-
his
People know
ear.
that though. Trump won because of Elon and Joe Rogan. I'm
Oh,
gonna
for
hold
sure.
you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Elon, for
Man,
sure.
go
Elon
on.
Musk and
That's-
Joe Rogan definitely got him
Took him out of the. Took him
Yeah.
into the
It-
stratosphere.
So let me ask this: what y'all think the country need? Do you think they need a better like politician, or more so a better? Which one's more suitable for a
gonna lie, I don't
president?
know.
A
Right now we need a
businessman
Did y'all see the
or like a
inauguration?
politician? Or what do you think is the best
I'm
suited
not
person?
mad at having a
Word.
businessman
Depends
run the
on the-
country.
Right now, I'm not mad at
Depends
this.
on-
I'm
What do
about
you
to say,
think? Like,
did y'all
depends, like,
see
what do you
the
think?
inauguration? Did you see who was behind him?
Nah, I
That
didn't.
was the most tech-centered thing I've ever
Yeah.
seen in my life, bro.
For sure.
It was all the big tech CEOs, and like so that was
So-
kind of inspiring.
Yeah, because usually
I wanna hear
the
what you
people
say.
who
That's
know
where the world
inaugurations,
going, bro.
It was low key fire. I'm like,
America a
Shit cool.
corporation, bro.
Because
Bro,
the
I'm about to say,
people that go
America
to
is
the
a business.
inauguration
Why
are
would we not
leaders
have
of
a-
other countries.
It's a corporation.
I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad at it.
I mean, so
Life
I
is a
have
business, bro.
It's a
very-
business.
I'm gonna have a controversial take.
Yeah,
on this.
Fetty.
On one hand, I'm in tech.
Ruffle
I'm gonna
feathers.
benefit from the nature of the business. But on the other hand, so we have to put it in perspective, right? Think about since the onset of America as an empire, we've never had an economic rival. Nobody's even come close. Let's just be real. It's like it's been first, and really it's like America was like first, second, and third, and then it was like fourth.
Yeah, true.
That's not the case now, though. Because why did India just sign? So okay, we're a part of the G7, right? That's Japan, Britain, France, Switzerland. No, Germany's still
Russia?
playing
Russia?
They still playing
They try to come
reparations for
back.
the
They
war.
still
Like
trying
no,
to come
they're
back.
not in it. But yeah. But India China started something called BRICS.
Yeah, I remember. I heard.
India, which is a problem, just signed with BRICS. The Middle
That's
East
bad.
just switched to BRICS.
I was just-
And I was wondering, so Middle East has the oil. India is
the
sending
chips.
all their people over here to get educated and then sending them back.
Yep.
Damn.
So I went and looked. Our GDP was roughly like 28, 29 trillion. China's is roughly 19, 20.
You're right.
Our GDP is going up 1% to 2% every year. China's going to 3% to 4%. Why is China flying balloons over here and doing little slick shit? Because they know mathematically they are going to catch us in about 10 years
got
if
the
nothing
numbers.
changes.
But this okay, so
They got the numbers.
even with that though, this is the thing though. because China kind of screwed themselves. They put themselves in a bad spot by doing the whole one child per family thing. Like that is a big effect, and those kids now are our age. I think. I'm thinking, or they're just a little bit.
They
younger
stopped
now.
that, huh?
They just
Yeah, no,
stopped
they're
it.
around our age.
They're around our age.
'Cause I
They
remember-
just, but they realized, but they
had
no,
to
they
go
just
because of
stopped it like this
it was
year or like last
overpopulation.
year. Yeah, they had
overpopulation.
They had
going
over
on.
like 1 billion people.
Yeah, they had
in
I'm about to
China.
say, is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing. It's
Depending
I
on
think
like
that's why Africa and India finna take over because
I mean,
they
it
have the
depends.
youngest population.
but that's
Yeah.
because they're continuously producing kids, and so that's why I
Yeah.
think that's. I'm not mad at a businessman being our president right now. It kind of fits the mold that we need in the way the economy is going and what we're battling.
Who wins
we're-
the AI?
We're
war?
battling an old China with very few people that's our age running
I
companies.
think what we have to think about, and I think what a lot of Americans need to think about, honestly, is in the next, particularly our next presidency, why do we spend 9 times as more as the next country on military spending? If you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. We do the most bullshit more than any other country.
We doing dumb
gotta
shit.
be
We
the
doing
back-
dumb shit,
we
but
doing
when
dumb
you do
shit.
dumb shit,
Gotta
you
be
need a lot of guns.
Right.
Lot of guns.
Yeah.
You gotta
When
be
you
in the
need
back.
gun shit, when you
Dude.
do dumb shit, you need a lot of weapons.
Back
Yeah.
that shit up.
That's why
Back
we
that shit
have
up.
more, we spend more on military. We spend 9 times as much as the next country.
yeah.
So the thing is, if we lose a financial edge, we have to think about how many grudges we have. Like, think about the grudges we
Right.
cause in the Middle East,
Yep.
Vietnam,
Yep.
right? Africa, because we
Everywhere.
everywhere. Thank
Cuba
you.
too.
We have
still
done
gotta
a
battle
lot of
Cuba.
shit
Like,
that
that's all-
requires us to have that much spending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's
if
true.
all these countries are not loyal to the U.S., they just know we have the biggest gun.
But I
And we
also
just,
feel
and we
like
just
Hey,
shat
fuck
on
with it.
Canada too. We
But
just,
no-
we just basically picked
Yeah,
a,
right now we got the
a
biggest
fight with
gun
Canada
and the
talking about
biggest
some
bag.
right
Right
state.
now, we have the biggest gun.
We took
If
Canada
China
state.
ever gets the biggest gun, they
It's a
already do. If especially
China's
when
China's
y'all travel.
spooky. China's spooky.
our geography plays
they got
another
the
part
numbers,
They
bro.
don't.
No.
If
Their
you
numbers
travel
are
as an
old. That's the
American, you will
problem. Their
find
numbers are
that a lot of
other,
people
they
fuck
don't
with.
like us.
Yeah, they don't fuck with us.
And it's,
Everywhere
it's
doesn't
for
like
shit
us,
we
we
don't
don't
know
even
about.
know. Yeah.
Because what happened when Trump went to, they were protesting. I know it's y'all about 2 months ago about Ukraine. No American I know gives a fuck about the Ukraine. Nobody's supporting the Russia invading Ukraine. It's not like we support Ukraine, but we're not. America's never been an ally of Russia.
I want to ask a real question. Though.
What's up?
Are you mad at Russia for invading Ukraine?
Yes, because what started World War I?
The killing the
Archduke Ferdinand assassination.
Sure. Yeah.
What started? So what started World War II? Germany
Bro,
invaded Austria-Hungary.
Austria-Hungary, yeah.
Yeah, Austria-Hungary, yeah.
When a country like Russia
Does
so
that, dominoes
invades
fall.
another country, it has great potential to lead to when Europe
sure.
gets in shit, it involves the whole
Just
world.
waiting on
For
the red
sure.
heifer.
Okay.
It's
So here's my next thing though. All right. So do you know the backstory of why Russia invaded Ukraine?
they say they just want to rebuild what because it was what the USSR.
USSR,
They're trying.
yeah.
They're starting
They're trying to
with
get that land-
Ukraine.
they're trying to get
They
that-
want to get all that
all- they
stuff
gonna
that
get
came back from the civil, like the Russian Civil
Yeah,
War. And
So
they lost.
basically, just
Okay, but
all
so
of
this is-
Eastern Europe.
Yes.
Yeah, they trying.
But
they
do you know
trying
how
to get
big?
all that.
Like
That's
they
a
should
lot of
take over
countries.
a lot of
Iran, I
stuff.
think was like
No,
they was
I don't
they
think
was almost-
Iran was a part of
they
it.
was close to it though. They was close to that border, the Middle Eastern border. Like they had a lot of territory over
Yes.
there.
But the USSR was getting
They
that.
want
did you-
all that back.
They
But
was in
did
the
you
field.
hear about the stories of Russia wanted to join NATO? Is it NATO or is it? It's a different one? I
You
can't.
know, they
No,
can't
they
we
asked.
wouldn't let
So
'em.
look, they would exactly. So this is what happened. They
We
went.
wouldn't let 'em.
They tried to join with Obama. Obama said no.
Hell no.
But then they said, okay, well, if you're not going to let us join, don't basically give guns or like military help to
To the
these
people we wanna
surrounding
take
countries,
over, yeah.
right? So Obama said no. He said, I won't do it. Obama didn't do it, right? Trump gets in. They had a conversation. They wanted something similar. They wanted to join NATO. It was like, Trump's like, nah, we're not going for that. He said, well, don't do this. Don't feed these countries. Biden gets in.
He allowed it.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Biden overthrows whatever Obama and Trump did, fed them countries. Now Russia's invading.
Well, here's the thing.
Which is
That's
crazy.
how most conflicts started, bro.
He would-
when he came into office.
Yeah, and like so they was like, okay, you're gonna disrespect what these past two presidents did. You put us at threat. Since you gave this other person a smoking gun, I'm finna make a move
Well,
too.
the economy, you got to think now. How did we get out of World War II? How did we get out of the Great Depression? We
The
did
Great
the bullshit.
The revolution.
We sold to both sides.
Yeah.
Yep.
We sold to Germany
The
and we sold to
Industrial
Britain.
Revolution.
But we got caught.
We got caught.
We
and
just
then
got caught.
and Germany got mad. They was like, y'all niggas selling us the same stuff y'all selling them.
We
So Biden tried to do it again.
The only
He
winners
said,
in war.
Biden should have known not to do
we
that.
That's
have
making the
always
guns.
profited off of other people's bullshit. We like, okay, we want to shoot them. All right, well, here you go. Well, we want to shoot them. We go right next door and sell them the same guns.
Y'all boys kill each other
Very
so we can
messy.
still so we can still run, we can run everything. Y'all kill each
we
other.
make money off both. we make money off war, and that's always been the case. But when Germany found out, they shot our submarine. They got mad.
They shot everybody
They
up.
shot everybody up after that. Like they was like, no, you can't sell to us and sell
Sell
to
the
them.
deal. Yeah.
Conflict interest.
That sound like Iron Man. I ain't gonna hold
Like
you.
America start shit,
arm dealer,
regulate
basically.
Yeah,
shit,
they
and
start
then
shit and profit off of it.
We
Right.
profit,
Profit,
bro.
profit
started, regulated, profited, ended.
and then step
And
back
then-
and then say
right.
we gonna just
And that's what I'm saying with all this new stuff. The only people that's gonna really did I turn it off?
no, I can't hear you.
Okay, the only people that's really gonna make it out is the people that's taking advantage of all the bullshit. People be like, "Oh, he's doing this and that." And I'm like, "You worry about the wrong stuff,
That's
bro.
what-
You,
that's what
you
I
need to worry
say.
about how to
Oh,
make
that's
money.
what I
You need to
say.
worry about how to
Bro,
get ahead, bro.
People be so emotional.
You gotta
like,
get ahead.
bro, be great.
Yeah, get ahead while you can, bro.
Oh
like,
God, I feel like we got like 5 to 10 years to lock in. Crazy. That's
No,
being
I
generous.
think
That's being
our
generous.
next
It's gonna get
our
OD.
next election is going to be
That shit gonna be
extremely important.
crazy.
yeah, Trump broke
Obama
a lot of
politician.
feathers, bro.
It's
He's
gonna
making a
be-
lot of
yes.
noise.
I honestly
Next
feel like
election
bro
is
gonna try to run for 12
I think it's
years.
going to
Nah, I
make
don't
or
think he's gonna
break.
get that.
It's
He
gonna
gonna
be
try
a
to
tough
do it.
job.
I think he's gonna put somebody
Well,
up under.
America
The next
can break
president's
away.
gonna be the
He gonna try to do
toughest
it
job
every
ever.
time.
He's probably gonna try, but
That's gonna be the
I don't
toughest-
think
gonna
he
be
gets
so
that.
toughest thing
different. You
ever.
know they're predicting AGI by 2027. That's a
I
whole
think
other conversation.
Our
'cause it's
next
like-
president needs to be of the caliber. I don't even know if they make these anymore, but we need a FDR.
Yeah,
You
somebody
need a- you need a
sees it.
poli-
You know
A
how
real politician.
hard that is gonna be.
You know what I'm saying? We need like a real
Like that was the
president.
perfect
Real
balance
president. We
between
need a
a
real
businessman and a person who was a
Because
politician.
To this day, that is the only president.
Bro,
that's able to
FDR
tax the
got
rich.
to it.
He's the only person that
But
taxed
that's
the
because
wealthy.
he was creative, though. He was creative.
That's what need to be done if you want to
He
keep.
told
it
them
100.
straight up. He's like, them 1%ers, nah, y'all not
They
moving your
need to
money
be
to
taxed.
banks.
They
You're
need to
not
be
going in
taxed.
France and moving your money over here. No,
Oh,
we
geez.
He was creative at stopping
But
the
That's a
the
fact,
nonsense.
though. That's what changed a
Financiers
lot.
are too smart to be taxed, though.
FDR
Yeah,
would
they-
say no.
You
He found that money.
They gonna be too like
always
if
a
you
way.
create new rules the same way earlier as y'all was speaking on the cybersecurity, able to defend, able to the financiers who've been doing this forever, they're gonna also learn new rules.
I think
real-
they
the
got
real
to be
movers.
because to me it don't
Where
make
there's a
sense that
will-
someone in Cali that making $1 million is paying $600,000 in tax or $500,000.
Where there's a
someone
will,
making $1
there's a
billion a
way.
year ain't paying no tax.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Well, it
that don't
depends
make
how the
sense to
person
me.
in California making their money.
No, it's an
I
So
guess.
Warren Buffett said it best, right? He said Warren Buffett got old and got a conscience. He said, "My tax, what I pay in taxes in percentage, is effectively my secretary pays more taxes than me." He said,
believe
"Because you're looking at the fact that I
Right.
paid $4 million,
Yeah, you look at the
but you're
dollar
not
amount.
looking
What
at
I
what I
paid,
got.
Right.
what I
That's
paid.
$4 for me."
Nah, for
Exactly.
Real. Nah,
He said,
for
"My
real.
secretary is paying 24% of her income.
Yeah.
I'm paying
24% of my
15.
income is not $4 million, $4 or $5
right.
million."
But the tax code is incentivized. It's nothing but incentives. Like
Yeah.
so, Warren Buffett, the reason why he's paying a lower percentage is because they want more business to be involved. They want
Yeah, that's
the
what I
government
feel.
doesn't
Capitalism,
want to
bro.
work
Yeah,
itself.
it goes
Yeah,
back
It's
to capitalism.
right.
They're
You're gonna
incentivizing
reward what
capitalistic.
gets what they want
thinking.
going.
right. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Nah,
I mean,
the
so
brother's smart
that's
with
why like you can't necessarily have that attitude and then say like, okay, a president gonna come in and try to like tax the rich because they're gonna be like, nigga, what the fuck?
They're not
Like,
going for it.
we creating all
They're not
the
going
all the
for
bit.
it.
All right,
They're
fuck
not
it.
going
I take
for it.
because then the thing is they're gonna be like, I take my business to China. I take my business.
No, they won't.
yeah,
I
I
do a
take-
comment.
Nah,
They
nah.
ain't
Nah,
gonna
no,
make
but
the
I'm just
same money.
saying like they'll take their
You can't make the
business
same money in China like
else-
you can here.
elsewhere.
Because they don't
But-
got the money to spend. We number one consumer.
To our credit, though, most people have FDR as one of the 5 greatest presidents we've ever had.
But isn't that
He
because
was,
of
though.
him? Didn't he? Wasn't he the one that made like he created hella
Social
jobs?
Security,
Social Security. He
Was he
created
the 3-strike person?
yeah,
don't
like
know.
Nah, that was Bill
That
Clinton.
was-
No, FDR was the New Deal, wasn't he?
New Deal,
Yep.
Social Security. He did all these. He did so much illegal shit because he was the president during the Great Depression.
He was,
He did so much
Shit,
almost
yeah.
unconstitutional stuff
and
to
then
try and
after
put money
him-
back in people's hands.
he created so many.
And then after him, Woodrow Wilson coming in.
Another great president.
Woodrow Wilson went
He
stupid.
was the vice
Without
president.
him, we would have lost the World War II.
Yes.
Yeah.
We would have lost that shit. We probably would have been speaking German or some stupid
If
shit.
we're at a point, facts.
What did he
Facts.
do that was so impactful?
To
atomic bomb.
when World War II.
Yeah,
Drop the
yeah.
bomb,
First
my
off,
boy.
that nigga served 3 terms back to back to back. So 12 years straight, he was in the president's office
Yeah,
making
he
shit
got the
happen.
bomb, right?
So between him, Joseph Stalin, and who was the other?
You need a
power at the
radicalist
time?
to win a war.
Who was it?
You
Winston
do.
Churchill.
You
do.
Between
Was
them
Wilson.
3, they were able to figure out how to beat. No, Mussolini was already gone by then.
They often-
FDR, Wilson, and Truman. Like that.
Yeah, there was like that
Yeah,
trio. Yeah,
That little
Didn't-
trio was
didn't-
without
didn't,
them
Kennedy
president.
come after him?
Kennedy. I
He
think
was the 70s,
Kennedy
a
was
couple
sometime
presidents later. It was a
after.
couple
He was like
presidents
a few presidents
Okay.
after
Kennedy
World
was
War
around
II.
the time King was
Yeah,
doing his thing.
He was in his
60s.
Yeah.
World War II was the
Okay.
40s.
World War II,
About
but
20
with
years.
Woodrow Wilson, Winston Churchill, and Joseph Stalin all being the head of those 3 major countries ahead in the
England.
world right
That was who
then.
we needed at the time.
Like without them 3, that shit would have
America would not be here right now, bro.
Bad.
We would have lost.
A way that you can know how shit would have looked
I
is a
believe
show that I watched. It was called The Man in the High Tower. In that show, it's about if Japan and Germany would have won the World War instead of the Allies, and that shit was crazy.
Yeah, them Germans, and Japanese, some wild people. You need a wild person to beat them.
Man.
Bro. You need a
Bro,
radical.
Germany broke right now because they still paying reparations.
They
for that.
still
They
paying.
Shout out the
still
Treaty
paying.
of Versailles.
They
Japan-
still
Japan-
paying.
Shout out the
That's a
Treaty
debt
of
they
Versailles.
still got
They ain't got no
to
choice.
this day.
Dropping
They
that
lost
bomb,
2.
changed the life.
That remind me of
insane.
Attack on Titan.
Have y'all
saying,
seen
bro.
that theory, the concept of like Japan pre-bomb? There was like real like manly men, tough type shit, and after the
Yeah.
bomb came like anime and like
Yeah.
early shit.
Bro,
See,
we wiped the
Like
we
it
I'm
wiped
about to
changed
say,
their-
bro,
it changed
the-
their
the-
thinking
the-
on
the-
it.
the
Like,
thing with people now,
like,
bro,
it made
people
them-
people like the results, bro, but people don't want to get their hands dirty, bro.
People
They be
don't want to
like-
get their hands.
People want to get their hands
Bro,
dirty, bro.
if
People
we was in, if like say our generation was in the air, we'd be like, no,
don't
don't
it,
drop
peace,
the bomb.
peace.
Drop the bomb.
You need it.
Don't do
To
it.
be someone like Japan, you
Hey,
gotta
yeah.
drop a
We
bomb.
would have been like you said,
World
speaking
War
German,
II,
nigga, dead.
You
all
needed
types
that
of
shit
Needed
back
that
then
shit.
because
I agree.
at that point in the war, Germany and Japan was like probably 1 or 2 battles away from really turning the tide.
Yeah.
Honest,
the
as
whole
soft as
war.
we getting, that's really what's scaring me about America.
No, facts.
Yeah, I
Because
know. That's
why
in the
Trump got
Pacific,
elected.
we were getting our
Yeah.
ass
'Cause
kicked.
we-
He's
he's
underrated
the last.
part.
we getting
yeah.
scared. We getting we getting weak as
Speak on
fuck.
that.
We getting
Because-
weak, nigga.
To me,
Now,
that's
I
why
don't know
Trump
about
got
weak
elected
as
to
fuck
me.
because we still got the number 1 best Air Force and the number 2 best Air Force in
okay.
the country.
I think
So
it's
in
more
the world.
perception. It's more
Perception.
perception.
It's not perception.
Yeah,
That's
people are looking
facts.
at it.
No.
Our Air
That,
Force
those
is
are
first,
facts. But
and
I'm
then
saying
the second Air Force
not
in
gonna
the,
fear
in
you
the
no
nation
more?
in the,
We
in
getting
the
soft.
world
I'm
is
saying
our
yes,
Yeah.
what you're saying is facts, but the world's perception of
Is-
America
is
got
softer.
soft.
yeah.
Oh,
we
that's
getting
I mean,
soft.
they could think we
Perception
got-
is
they could-
reality, bro.
Everybody, we're not gonna
Perception.
sit
No,
here
no,
and
no.
show
Perception
a
is not
whole
reality.
fucking-
Perception is that person's reality.
Yeah.
Perception.
Yeah.
Perception is what it's like. What I think. Okay, I can think that you soft. I can think you ain't about it.
You gonna find
But
out.
then if I step up to you and you might be
You
about
gonna find
it,
out.
you might
Oh.
like I could think you. I could be like, oh, I'll beat your tail. I'll whip your ass. You ain't got no. You don't want no problem with me. But one thing I do know about John is if nigga come try John gonna put that.
And I think that's
Yeah,
kind
Aaron
of how
Plummer
people
with
looking
it.
at America
Over
right now because they'll be like
Chill.
talk shit, but they ain't gonna actually try. 'cause
And then once
I
they
don't know.
try,
might get
I feel
your
like
feelings
because
hurt.
the last
Yeah.
time a country tried that, they didn't know what we were
Yeah.
talking about was Pearl Harbor. And then
Right.
after that, a general from Japan specifically stated, I feel like we woke up.
We
a
just
sleeping
woke up a
giant.
sleeping giant. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Because
why they want
America was we weren't in the war at first. We was trying to stay isolated.
selling
from
the
that
both
shit.
We was selling the. We was great.
that's why they thought we was weak.
Situation.
That's why bro thought we was weak.
And
We
then
was
Japan
stacking
did
it up
that.
like,
Yeah.
bam.
I'm saying the only winners is war.
We got the Germany money. We got the Britain money.
That's how you get ahead, bro. Real middleman.
That's
You get ahead. That's how you get
But-
They
ahead.
had to
bro.
enslave
Okay,
us, but,
to
you know.
blend both of y'all points, you are correct. We have more power than we ever had, but they're also correct in. Okay, so Monroe Doctrine.
Mhm.
Think about the type of president he was. He told
Yeah, I make
the
me
rest of the world
Yeah, my history knowledge is
there is.
y'all shitting on me.
Oh, I
But no,
love
no,
it.
no.
I
fuck
love
with
it.
it.
I
Check,
love
fuck
history.
with it.
I love
Go
history
I
too,
love
bro.
history.
Why
I
is
see
it that no other world power colonized after the Monroe Doctrine? He literally said, "Walk softly, carry a big stick." No, he literally declared the rest of the world, no other world power shall have a colony in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah.
He told the rest of the world that. He
Stay over
said,
there.
as a matter of fact, and if you try to establish a base, embassy, or military base here, the United States will consider it an act of war and treat you accordingly.
I mean, you got to think about
That's
it.
what happened. That's Cuba, ain't it?
Yes. So
That's how,
It's okay.
it's not a lot of presidents that's built like that to say, you know what, you come over here if you want to.
I'ma
If you
blow
do,
this-
I
don't
promise you. I promise you.
So it's no. It's
Have
like
to be
I feel
like
like
that,
it's a
bro.
balance.
Risking
of-
all the
That's why-
people in
that's why
America.
I'm not
bro.
mad at Trump.
I feel like it has to
Have
be a
to.
balance of knowing what your military power can do and knowing how to effectively put the right words into place.
Yes.
Because I feel like, because you got to think about it. In World War II, we were fighting a war on two different fronts: the Pacific Islands with Japan, and in Eastern Europe with Germany. And we were able to do both of those and still be able to knock out both of the enemies. So to be able to leverage our powers the right way, you got to have someone in the office who knows how to basically talk they shit.
But we haven't
and
had that.
do that shit.
Like the
Yeah,
last
no, we haven't
president we
that.
had
Wow.
with strong foreign policy, people didn't like him, but that was Bush Jr.
I about to say, it's
Because
bro.
when
With Taliban,
he wanted that oil,
yeah.
he sent
got
about
that
50,000 troops. He sent
Boots on ground? All right. Say less.
hey, y'all got. Oh, y'all,
We had-
let me get some
when
of
the
that.
Twin Towers got. Do you know how many troops Bush?
Bruh,
Iran isn't even that big.
my dad was going the next day.
It's fact.
That nigga was going the next day.
After
Bush
9/11?
said, all right,
That
Yes.
kind of
Sir,
thinking.
sir,
Is it
sir,
a conspiracy, bro? Like,
No.
if you arm people that fast, is that
Bruh,
like an inside
so
job?
so they
Nah,
have.
I- okay, there is a
Bro,
theory.
it was an inside
No,
job.
look,
That's
there's
one
a
of the
theory.
It was
conspiracies
strategic.
I don't
There
think
is
It
a
was
theory.
strategic, bro.
There
Ain't
is
no
a theory.
theory, bro.
No, there is.
There's a few
theory.
conspiracies
mobilize
that I think
people
are
that fast.
That's the
unravelable
thing.
that
Bro,
No, but this is the thing.
So it's a thing in the
Special
army
Evans,
to
bro. They
where
took-
they
they
can
literally
have boots
took
on
Two
ground.
towers went straight
36
down.
hours.
Yeah.
Two.
Telling
think
y'all,
about it.
there are
Two
two
towers
conspiracies
that went
Yeah,
that are
straight
not
down.
conspiracies.
That's not a theory.
That
It's
made me
fact.
think like this is a conspiracy, bro, because like somebody profited off that. Some contract in the
No.
government, somebody did.
Bro, I'm
it.
telling you,
attack the
9/11
United States
and JFK.
I'm saying
killing.
like in New York, like
Hey,
that's
no.
like
Those
JFK
were both structured.
Yeah,
JFK,
bro,
if
it
a
was-
knife
I don't gotta follow the
died,
bill, but
I feel
got-
like shit would
I
have
do
shit would have worked out.
Those
a lot
were
better.
both structured, bro. I'm telling you.
they
9/11
hijacked the
and
plane with
JFK.
what, a knife, right, and some corkscrews and
Yeah, because you got to think about it. At
They had
that
multiple
time,
shooters
I
in
don't
JFK.
think.
and they had guns. The TSA, it was on TSA.
No, it was.
Oh, before 9/11.
They did have guns.
Bro, before 9/11, you could pull up on your homie and like chill with him before the flight and just leave like it was the club, bro. You didn't have to go through none of that.
true.
Like it was a
Yeah,
different
it
time.
was
out
9/11.
there,
By
bro.
airborne
Yeah,
security.
Yeah, bro. Like you could
I don't
have.
think I
Yeah.
flew before that.
I wasn't. I was a child. I didn't
Oh, yeah,
experience
yeah.
it. I'm speaking that off of what I've heard. I
Yeah.
was in kindergarten when 9/11
I don't
happened.
even remember.
Definitely inside
Yeah.
job, bro. Don't kill me.
All right,
Bro,
so
it was
look,
inside. It was
this is
Don't
this
kill
is
me.
this is
everybody.
this
knows
is where my
what's
first
going
conspiracy theory came from when it came to the Twin Towers. They said,
I'm mad you folded that shit.
nah, if you fold a $5 bill,
Show the camera.
I know what you're talking
if you fold a
about.
$5
I know-
bill,
yeah, it
it's supposed to
shows
be
it.
represent the Twin Towers, right?
I've seen that.
On a $5 bill, it's the Twin Towers.
Conspiracy.
I
If
think
you
it's more
fold,
how
if you
the
fold a
buildings
$20
fall.
bill, it's the two Twin Towers burning.
Yeah.
Bro, that's the
Like,
first
it's
thing that
110%.
that's the first thing that
Who
woke
the
me up
fuck-
to conspiracy.
Who the fuck was folding their
Every-
money and found out
everything is
about
a
that?
conspiracy.
on.
bro.
I
found out about that when I was in
conspiracy
sixth grade.
is,
It
to
was
me, is
high
a
to figure
coping
that out,
mechanism.
bro.
That shit happens.
That shit said.
That's why. No. That's why.
It doesn't fall straight down.
Right. That's why I'm saying to not call it a conspiracy. It's just what happened.
I think
And then the
American
Pentagon after that
conspired
showed the
to
explosion.
do that shit so we could go get.
That's what
make money.
capitalism do. They like whatever it takes to.
No,
to make
I
a
have.
dollar.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I wouldn't call it a conspiracy. It's like it's.
Bro.
What's the
actuality.
definition of a conspiracy? It's
Inside
not
group
proven.
Not
with their
proven.
own
The
like
thing-
but
that's
like-
agenda.
proven.
So it's the same. So you can
It's
put
videos
conspiracy
that the
theories-
the building goes straight
Straight
down
down,
and
yeah.
under the ground.
You don't fly.
And they got a demolition to explain
I never
how
seen that.
that would only
Trust, I was a conspiracy
happen if
child.
it was controlled.
And imagine if you were an army contractor, a manufacturer of weapons, bro. Like that's green. That's the
It is.
perfect time. To, you feel me?
And wasn't
Like,
there a
that's
whole
the
thing on how
ammunition
Bin
to
Laden
start a war.
wasn't even?
I'm still
like,
surprised
they
they
said
got
Bin
your
Laden
they
was-
got your pops up out of
He
there
wasn't
next
even him.
day.
Right,
Right,
like,
Bin
that was
Laden
before
was-
this-
They said that
He
he
was
was
going the next
Right.
day.
He was a
And then
pawn.
Like, it
My
was
dad
some
was
crazy
telling me
shit, bro.
that it's something in the military because he was in the infantry in the army. He was
Yeah.
telling me he was something in the infantry that they could be anywhere in the world, boots on ground in like 18 hours.
That's insane. They got you up out of there the next day.
Bro, gone. I'm like, Grandma,
You was sad.
I'm
I
like,
say,
Grandma, where my dad at?
People
She
don't
was
even
like,
know
he
about
gone,
Bin
baby.
Laden, bro.
Go, baby.
That
I know
We got work to do.
most people didn't support that, but Bush's response, I'm put it like this:
Show the world.
North Korea didn't say nothing while Bush was the president because they knew this Texas white boy.
He with it.
He was unhinged.
Put your fucking Duke
Bush
up, nigga.
Bush Jr. was very unhinged as a president.
Nah,
With it.
facts.
Soon as Obama got it, because he was much more liked, but he was also seen as a little bit weaker on the international circuit.
Yeah.
North Korea started talking mad crazy.
Facts. They did. They was talking crazy.
They was
when
talking
Obama was
mad crazy.
My
Like,
dad
we
had
got
to
new
go-
And
we
then
gonna
when
have
Trump
I'm
got in
telling you.
office, they shut up again.
they shut up because
They was talking. Now I think about it. They was talking mad crazy.
Greedy.
All the Kim Jong. They was
was
making all the
greedy.
videos
Yeah,
about
fat
Kim Jong.
ass.
yeah,
It's
like
gonna
we
be-
got nukes. We
they was
send them
talking-
over there. All this.
Man.
Bush was out. They didn't say. They was quiet.
On me, that's real. That is real. They
And
was.
people like the results, but don't like how get their
don't
hands
like
dirty.
It's
bro.
just like
They don't
being-
like
it's
how it
just-
looks.
We need somebody to get their hands dirty, bro.
Yeah.
That's the only way we could drive around in freedom.
He ain't
You know what
lying,
I'm
bro.
saying?
I'm telling you,
He's
I
not
really,
lying.
I really
He's
think
not
that's
lying.
why.
We
That's
might
the
need one.
that's the main reason Trump won. In
You
my
need a
opinion,
demon, bro.
Need it, bro.
His
need a
ass is
demon.
crazy enough to press that red button, bro. And they got
Yeah,
tired of
bro.
it.
Bro,
You need it.
playing, bro, Georgia football. It was like, bro, we
Aggressive.
needed niggas like Nemo, nigga.
Yeah,
Like
a little throw.
no thought, but throw as fuck. Like you need it, bro.
Shout out
need it.
Nemo.
You definitely need niggas.
Bro
Shout out my
said
nigga
no
Nemo.
thought but throw.
Like,
I'm
Like,
like,
Nemo, he
like,
said
like, no. What the hell? Why I can't remember?
I know what you're talking about. Them crash outs. You need them crash outs.
Why I can't remember his name?
Zoe.
You need a
Zoe.
You need folks like that,
need that,
bro.
bro.
I feel like Zoe's more of a crap.
I mean, no, I'm not saying he. I'm not saying he not. Yeah, but he was gonna crack.
You need
You
niggas
need,
that's
bro.
gonna be with
If
it.
we don't have people like that on our team, bro, we was gonna be soft as fuck. Go out there.
That's
Like,
valid. I see what you're
You
saying.
see what I'm saying?
I think this next president needs to be.
So where do we go from here? This next president gonna have a lot of
Need a
shit.
real
to-
It
politician.
needs to be a
We need a
politician.
real
We need a real
politician.
I feel like-
politician.
actually,
that can navigate.
I feel like we need
no
a
more
balance of
business.
both.
After Trump, you have a businessman. We don't need another.
That's
business.
what I'm
No,
saying. A
we
balance
need
of
somebody that can
we need a
navigate
politician that
difficulty.
and knows
That
the
has
laws.
great-
the world.
What
What do you think
economics,
the
all
world
that.
looks
Excellent
like?
time
in
for
3,
Kamala to
4
run
years?
after, bro. Honestly, like
Oh,
it would have been an excellent
first
time.
Hold on.
60 days.
Hey, everybody talking. She's not gonna catch it.
again though.
Yeah,
If she run again, she'll definitely get that shit.
Who?
Yeah.
Kamala,
That's it.
because she knows
had a
the
better
law.
chance.
Nigga,
Like,
she knows
Bruh,
the law.
she is an excellent politician. She just it was
She
just
knows
a
the law.
bad time for
Time.
her to run
and
that.
she was a part of
bitch
Joe
right now.
Biden's administration.
If she would have started the race at the very beginning instead of Joe Biden, we'd be having a whole different
I don't think she
conversation
gonna,
right now.
I
because
think if
she'd
she
be
run again,
president.
I don't think she come out on the Democratic side.
That's cool too.
Oh, can
You
you
just
switch
need a
parties, nigga?
politician, bro.
Hmm?
Trump was a
oh,
was
okay,
a
come out
Democrat
this side.
Yeah, I don't think
Trump
she
was-
she
Trump
beat
was a
the
Democrat.
candidates on that side.
Yeah.
Trump was a Democrat.
for a minute, but the
Yeah.
Democratic Party ain't. the
Elon
same
Musk
as
was a
it was.
Democrat too.
It was
Yeah.
the Democratic Party wasn't what it is
I
today.
think
though.
Musk is a
Yeah.
businessman.
He's
that
opportunist.
He is an
Opportunist.
That is what I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
he is.
yeah.
And also,
I think he's whatever serves his interest best at the time.
I mean, be real. Musk ain't even American. He from South America.
Exactly.
I mean,
South
and
Africa.
also the way we
I
think of
thought
the
he was
parties
born in
now,
Canada though.
the way we think of political
Or
parties
South
now.
Africa.
shit
Oh, he was
split
born in
back
South
the
Africa,
day.
but
South
lived in Canada.
moved to Canada, then moved to LA.
Okay. You out?
Yeah, move.
Oh.
For sure. Make a time out. Get your ass
But,
on.
yeah, no, I don't think Kamala going. I don't think.
Nah,
Kamala's a good. She's a,
Think
she-
about the
she knows
candidates
law.
on the Democrat side, bro. She not.
nah.
she
The
not
thing
coming out.
is, the way we think about the political parties now, shit was flipped back in the day.
Yep.
So back in the day, we used to be like the Republicans were for us because Lincoln was a Republican, I believe, right? Shot the shit out of his ass.
Put his ass on the penny and turned his ass the other way.
It was an orchestra or something. Like,
But Lincoln,
Yeah,
The
so
only
like,
one.
You gonna free this man?
well,
he wasn't even on our
Lincoln
side.
the other way.
Lincoln wasn't even on our side for real.
yes, he was. What the
was.
fuck? Are you
I mean, yes, he was the one to abolish the slavery, but
You know how
there's a
big
lot of
that is?
information where he didn't even really want to do that. He just did that because
Want to or
that's
not.
true.
Want to or not?
I've heard
he
what
still
you're
needs
talking
to
about.
do
Yeah,
it.
at
the end of the
It's the
day,
thing.
he
Want
still
to
did
or
it.
not.
he was
He
he was
still did
for
it.
he was for slavery, but he wanted to
He wanted
I
the
can't remember
economy.
North,
He
South.
wanted to industrialize.
That's what
the
they
country.
did though.
Yeah,
But that's
yeah,
that's.
yeah.
But it
want
still
to or
helped
not.
us though.
No, it did.
Everyone's
But we
selfish
can't be like,
intent
oh,
is
he
gonna
was
benefit
on our
people, bro.
side.
Everyone's selfish reasoning.
He was
It's gonna
enough
benefit
for
us.
us.
Bring
to
it back
kill
to your
him for it.
point.
Let's be real.
He got shot for how much he was for us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
no,
honestly,
he did.
Shit started going downhill when we made political parties. Because
Let's be
George
real.
Washington said the downfall of our country will be once we start to
Hard.
make political parties.
That's the second time you said that one. That's
Giving
real.
people too many decisions or why?
No, because
It
at
divides
that
the
point
country.
we're worried about
we
our
supposed to be
own
one big
individual
party?
stuff instead of
The common problem.
just the common
Now-
problem to work together and become one as a country.
I want,
This is something.
so people don't I want to highlight what he just said. People don't understand how great our first president was.
Was he that?
Oh,
great?
the first couple.
Educate us about George Washington.
Okay, let me for
The
one.
man that had the slave.
Did you know
Right.
after he
Fucked up
okay, what was he? What did he do before he died? He freed all the slaves. He never agreed with slavery because he was one of the only people that freed all his slaves. He wrote a letter saying, "Free all my slaves and give them land when I die."
And actually fought in the revolution.
So, as a general,
When I die.
when George Washington, I can look it up and read it. But when he left, he did not want to be president.
Mm-mm.
He did not want that power.
At
Two,
all.
let me tell you another thing. Terms were not established yet. So FDR had 4
He
terms.
stayed for a while, huh?
He
He had
only
3.
did 2, but he chose. They wanted him for a 3rd term.
he
Why
did
did he?
3.
He wrote a letter. They saying we want you for a 3rd term. He said no because this is one of the greatest. I think the King of Britain said about George Washington. They said, "What do you think about him?" They said, "If he steps down after the 2nd term, he might be the greatest man alive right now." And they asked him, "Why don't you want to do your 3rd term?" Because he could have. He said, "Because I spent my life fighting the monarchy in Britain. And I'm concerned
monarch.
that if I take another term, it will undermine the democracy that I just fought for." So he willfully stepped down from power to preserve the democracy of the government.
Exactly.
But then he did the term, huh?
No,
No,
he did
he
not take
didn't.
a 3rd term. He took 2 terms.
I think the only
left.
person that took a 3rd was
FDR.
Was it FDR? Or I think it was Woodrow.
It was,
FDR did 4. He
he
did,
did
4.
2. He did 2. He came back for 1. I think after. I think he did 2.
I think
sat one,
FDR
then
did
came
6.
back.
FDR was president for like 16
Yeah,
years.
nah, 16. I don't think
For
he did.
real?
He was there for a long.
I know he did.
while.
I do remember him being there for a minute.
But I thought it was Woodrow that took the 3.
I think it's
he
Woodrow.
did 1 before the World War started, and then
They
he was
kept him
president
in when the war
when
he
World
did,
War II started.
and then he
and then I think he was
12 years.
after.
1933 to
Who, Woodrow?
1945. No,
that's
FDR. He's the
Eisenhower.
longest serving president.
That became the president when what's his name died. That was Eisenhower, right? That
Talking about
became
Kennedy.
Hey,
Kennedy
Eisenhower
died,
was
you
a
can't-
guy
Eisenhower.
too.
Great president.
Eisenhower,
Last great
Eisenhower.
Republican.
Eisenhower was
Nothing
a
about
guy.
Eisenhower.
He was the one when not JFK. Who died? Who was the president that died? Is it JFK? No.
JFK,
One of
did.
the-
JFK got shot.
assassinated.
Nah,
But that was
when
before.
that died during World War II. That's when Eisenhower stepped
One
in.
of the was it Teddy?
Nah,
I
Teddy
don't
was
know.
way
I don't
before.
know.
Okay,
I don't even know. But,
Teddy,
but
you
that's
gotta think,
Eisenhower.
when you think
How'd they
Teddy,
die?
you got to think Panama Canal.
Old age?
right.
I think he died for like natural causes.
During his presidency.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Hey,
think.
but look,
Natural
Eisenhower,
causes.
Great president.
Eisenhower was that guy. That's the reason why we got D-Day.
And he also warned. If you ever watch, if you really want to know what a visionary, watch his farewell address. Might be one of the great.
Eisenhower?
He warned America of the military industrial. He warned everybody of what's happening right now.
Yeah.
He said in his farewell address, "I am concerned about the military industrial complex." He said because if an informed and if you do not have an informed and present constituents, which is why truth is censored right now. He said that is the only way to fight the military industrial complex. He said because he had this whole mantra. He said, "I won't spend a penny less than we need to defend the country, but I also won't spend a penny more." Because he said if we don't be careful with how much military spending we have, we run the risk of a few people undermining the entire democracy.
Yeah.
Which
Yep.
is what we're dealing with
Hey.
right now.
Few
He
people
literally
fighting.
warned us of this in his
And the shit's
farewell
happening right
address.
now.
What I do want to state though, I think America is in a pivotal time right now because we have a chance to go back to. I could see it. Depending on how things go, we could go back to one party. We're in a very crucial place because we do have a lot of Republicans that see both sides. We have a lot of Democrats that are starting to understand capitalism and the like I would say if you half of the Republican Party are truly liberalists and half of the Democratic Party are truly liberalists, which puts us over half of the American population because
I feel like if you think you could never just be one.
Yeah, honestly, in
I-
my opinion,
we're
So we need
fighting.
to be
it.
communists.
I feel like
You
Nah.
gotta like there's
We can be liberalists and still vote for one person.
I thought they say if we think we can't be
like
one.
to be just truly all Republican or all Democrat.
You wouldn't be Republican
as far
or
as their
Democrat,
views
you
are
would get
set.
rid of
Like,
that.
there's gonna be hyperlinks.
Yeah.
Like,
Right,
you're never
right,
just
right.
gonna just be all for one.
I
In
think
my
we're-
opinion, if
I
you
think
think
the people are ready
there's
for a
a-
shift.
I mean, yeah,
And I
that's
think
what I
that
was about to
shift
say.
could
We're-
potentially-
I don't know what it looks like, but I think the American people are tired of the parties we have now.
Yeah.
I would love for it to go back. With the right person and the
Mhm.
right delivery, it would be great for America to go back to one party, and we still keep our same thought processes, because it's like
What would be the
Democratic and Republican.
I'm about to say, how is there one?
So
party?
this is what I think. I honestly think we're on a brink
Well, it'd be no
of
party.
another revolution, because the times that I'm seeing right now is a lot similar to before we had the Great Industrial Revolution that
Right.
took us out of the Great Depression and
We're
World
in the
War II.
technological revolution.
So
right now.
instead of it being like railroads and building mass guns and shit like that, it's going to be on the technical logical side.
Yep.
So instead of us like living like how we are now, we might end up really like in like 10, 15 years end up being like how the Jetsons are
Right.
in real life, because the Jetsons actually don't take place too far from where we are now. Maybe it's like 20 years or so.
Hot
It's like
take.
2045.
I'm gonna keep it
Yeah,
don't
20,
think-
25
I
years.
think
I
It's
do
not
want to talk
far
about
away.
what does the
Don't
future
They-
look like in the near future. Like,
Hot take.
people are scared of AI taking
No,
away
it's-
jobs and
It's
whatnot.
finna be
like,
some major event is going to happen very soon. With the way shit is happening and lining up right now with our world powers, it's going to be a red heifer that
telling you,
triggers shit.
It is AGI. And
I
they're
think-
predicting that to be 2027. Y'all talking about the 2028 election. If that shit becomes true, that's a big question.
Let's
What?
go back to what we said
Yeah,
earlier.
what's going on?
I think if quantum computing becomes something becomes a household name,
Put it out.
I don't know what the
Do y'all
That-
understand?
Elaborate
the
on
power of
quantum
that shit?
computing
I'm
for
about
the
to-
people.
I'm about to
Yeah,
find a-
elaborate
I'm
on it for the people that don't know.
Can y'all
The
explain
non-tech folk.
Okay,
No.
so let's talk
shit's
about what
spooky.
quantum physics is.
Quantum
Quantum
is crazy.
physics is the ability to compute. Okay, so all right, so you got equations.
Mhm.
A plus B equals C.
Yeah.
Then you have
Pythagorean.
differential equations is where you have multiple variables that solve very complex systems.
Mhm.
So if you have a really hard problem like population control, you would use a differential equation because there are a lot of unknowns.
A lot of variables.
Quantum computing takes it a step above that. It's where you use equations to determine reality events.
So it's like what's
Like
the future.
what's the potential of a singularity happening?
quick
Like,
question.
I'm
to
about to
shut you
say
off.
basically. Oh, you go ahead.
So this actually kind of goes to what Vontae been talking about with the dark matter thing and all this other stuff.
That can
No.
change everything. Like, quantum
Antimatter,
computing
dark
But
matter.
to answer the
but no,
quantum
what I'm
computing,
getting at
good
is
thing.
So have you know anything about what Terrence Howard has been talking about?
No, you gotta educate me.
All right, so I'm not the one to tell you the exact details of it, but Terrence Howard has been doing a lot of research into basically our natural forces. You know, you got the four main forces. It's like they try to say gravity's one, electromagnet is another, like the different forces.
Okay.
And he's basically stating what we have listed as our four forces aren't our four forces. There's one force, and that force is motion. And it goes against a lot of the principles that were created by our founding fathers of physics and these other mathematic things, like to the point where he's like, listen, I forgot the name of his website. You go to his website, he said, put these things in a blender and you will basically recreate like Saturn in your kitchen. And so it's like, it kind of goes hand in hand with what I'm thinking you're speaking on as quantum.
I know what you're talking about.
Quan-
That's different from quantum computing. That's like quantum physics.
Quantum-
the fact that
yeah.
everything can come from
Motion.
one atom, and everything is an atom essentially. So if you can build atoms, you can build anything.
So, but
that's
the
a
thing, though.
different thing. Quantum computing.
Atom is different though. They
I'm
don't
gonna tell you what quantum
He
computing.
might
You
be
know how
talking about the
computers work?
concept.
It's
Computers speak in binary, so that's
Mhm.
zeros and ones.
ones. Yeah.
Everything is a 0 and 1. That's a placement.
Yep.
Quantum computers makes it so you can have multiple placements in each. It's no longer 0 and 1. So it's like times 100 basically. And
Yeah.
to like conceptualize, I had to remember what it was. I had to look it up. Google, they just had a quantum computer that came out like 2-3 months ago.
Mhm.
It's hard for humans to conceptualize how strong this is. It performed a calculation in 5 minutes that would take longer than the world's current smartest computer before quantum computing.
Mhm.
7 or 10 septillion years to solve. So
That's
the
crazy.
world's
Yeah.
smartest computer before quantum computing would have took longer than the universe's existence to solve,
so-
and it solved it in
Right.
5
Yeah.
minutes.
And so what I'm getting at is
Like I don't think like
that's
it's
like
hard
they're
to think
changing the
about what
basis.
that is.
It's like
You
it
feel?
seems like they're changing the basis
me-
of our math,
let me
our
let me
mathematics.
put a curt. So let me conceptualize what he just said. Right. So, computers like C64-bit, 128.
Yeah.
What he's describing is the bit you see on is the ability of a computer to process something.
Mm-hmm.
Quantum more than exponentially changes a computer's ability to process.
Basically.
So let's put AI to the side right now. AI means I can predict the next thing in a sequence.
Yeah.
Let's just put that
Throw
over
that
here.
away. Yeah,
That's,
got that.
But we're
That's
going to come back to
AI
that
is a
in
guessing
second.
game.
But
It's not, but it's an educated guessing
but
game.
but when you combine the two, you don't. So okay.
One at a time.
So okay.
Yeah.
It is. Okay. So with quantum, let me give you an example. Most people don't know there are $1 million math problems.
For sure.
There are problems that you can solve,
Mhm.
and some government will pay you.
Pay you.
Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Your bank account is secured by something called RSA.
Uh-huh.
RSA, because computers are very bad at really large factorizations, and I'm talking about really large.
Yeah.
Encryption.
Like yes.
Yeah.
So
Understand.
okay, the way RSA works is you take two prime numbers,
Mm-hmm.
two primes, you multiply them together, you get a non-prime. That's always the case.
For sure.
In order to crack that encryption, if you get a really, really big prime number,
Mm-hmm.
you need to know that what were the prime numbers that you multiplied together to get this non-prime.
For sure.
But if they're huge, and I'm talking about 50, 60, 70 digits,
Mm-hmm.
a computer will take forever to do. Computers are bad at factorizations.
For sure.
They take forever to crack them. Quantum computing can crack that in seconds.
All right, so
Like it's
for them to be able to, so this is what I'm getting at though.
Like
for them
butter.
to be able to crack that fast, do you think they had to change the process of cracking it? So basically, like the equation for the regular computer is already set. It solves this
Okay.
way. Is quantum computing for them to maximize it at that rate? It seems like they would have to change the equation. The equation would have to be
so
something
what's
different, or
happening
they're just
is-
doing it 10 times faster.
So the government, there's a guy, I think he was German. They wanted to know because a lot of stuff is secured by RSA.
Mhm.
So the government had a very good question. We need to know, is there a number that's so big that it is no longer prime?
Mhm.
Why do they need to know that? Because in order for RSA to work, you need two prime numbers and you multiply them together. What happens if one of those numbers is non-prime? It now gets very easy to factor.
For
So
sure.
they're saying
Easy to crack.
if we need to know, is there a number such that this becomes easy to crack? Because if so, your Social Security, your bank, everything just got screwed.
Yep.
Right? So they paid somebody, and somebody spent his entire life proving no, there are infinitely many prime numbers.
Mm-hmm.
He spent his a mathematician, a very, very, very good mathematician,
Yeah.
spent his entire life proving that problem. What he's just describing is there's a degree of computing that can solve what a mathematician spent his entire life doing in seconds.
For sure.
So
And
when
that's
you-
that
that's-
hockey puck.
And that's what I'm
Yeah.
You
So
feel
I
me?
mean,
combine prediction
Yeah.
with exponentially higher problem solving. Now, when you put those two together, what is the curve right now on technological advancement? How fast does technology evolve?
I swear, every 4 months,
Yeah,
the
it's
AI
like
or
something
anything
new
that
comes
came
out
out was
every quarter.
shitting on the
Yeah.
last.
It's like something comes out new every
Thank
quarter.
you.
Not even close.
So
like,
what happens when now that prediction gets that exponential boost in processing power? What type of problems can
And
it?
that's why I'm asking y'all talking about the presidency in 2028. What if the world don't look the same in
And
2027?
so that's why I'm asking for them
What
to
does
do
that
that.
look
For
like?
them,
Like-
like fundamentally, for this computer to process these equations at that drastically different of a speed, it's like you have to change the equation.
Like stuff like
You're
flying-
saying like the security behind it, basically like that.
I'm not even speaking
what
on
are you
security
speaking
now.
on
I'm
then?
just speaking on like the equation is all like, okay, they say like math is done linear. It's 1 + 1 = 2. That's a linear equation. Yeah, math is always linear. They're saying that because this or the nothing in our universe on our planet, nothing's truly linear. Everything's kind of related to the sphere. So everything curves off in different ways. And so what they're saying, what has been stated is that the equation shouldn't be formulated linear. The equation should be formulated with some type of curve. So it's not just 1 + 1 = 2.
I get what you're
1
saying.
+
I
1
get what
plus
you're
something
saying.
else.
It's
We're
like an
missing it's a variable
exponential
that's
straight line curve.
it's like it does like this. Everything
Yeah,
does
like
like that.
What I can
does
say
like
to that
because
is
everything in this
they
universe
don't
is
because quantum is so they don't know what that curve is.
yeah.
You know, what I'm
Humans-
saying is there's a degree of processing that's coming that we don't know how to make a like.
I'm
that's
about
what
to
I'm
say
saying. So that's what
a
I'm saying,
big
like that
flaw of
quantum
humans
computer-
is our ability to grasp exponential change.
Yes.
Like
It's-
we're not
that's
good
what-
at understanding.
Until it's there.
Yeah,
until it happens.
Yeah,
And
so
that's
thinking
what I'm getting
abstractly.
at now.
It's tough.
yes,
And that's what I'm getting at now.
That's what
So
it
like what I'm saying is like that computer for it to speed something up at that drastic of a, it's like once you like humans we can get faster, but we can only get so much. You're gonna only get like Blaine's only get so much faster. I'm only gonna get so much faster than what I am right now. So for this computer to get that much faster, something in the basis of it had to make that
But
change. So
think
it's like
about
I
the
get what you're saying.
implication. Like
I think that's the difference between binary and quantum.
So you feeling like
That's what it is.
unless we figure out
Yes,
the
they're two
different
different
variable, we're going to always be at this ceiling that we're at right now.
yeah, it's like
Unless we're able to break through to figure out what the fuck else we're supposed
That's
to
what that 0
Actually,
and 1 that I'm speaking on.
yeah,
I
that
agree
was
with
the
and that's what I'm
change.
saying. So that's what I'm saying.
the
They had
change.
to
I agree with
change
that
the
for sure.
equation.
It was always zeros and one. That's all we've seen.
Yeah.
It's no
So-
longer just zeros and
ones.
ones.
My thing is, I agree
Infinite
because
abilities in each.
I'm
in each
putting it
digit.
toward our ability to be able to go into space and our space exploration. For example,
That's what I was getting at.
we've been plateaued at space exploration since what, the 60s? That was
we
when
stopped fighting with Russia.
that was supposedly when we landed on the moon.
yeah,
So with the way that we've advanced as a society now, and we were able to touch the moon back in the 60s, actually put people on the moon,
Allegedly.
to where we are now, almost what 40, almost 60 years later, we should be able to travel interplanetary with actual people on ships by now with the technology that we have.
With
quantum will like what I'm saying is okay. If quantum makes the same leap that AIs make, which everything says it will, flying like
I feel like it ain't an if. I think we need to talk about
Well, when
prepare
the
and
scope-
like what,
when-
yeah.
the scope of possibility for human achievement just changed.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's more of an if, but more of a when.
That's
like-
why I'm like kind of like y'all heard the frog and boiling water theory? Y'all know that?
Yeah.
Like basically, if a frog, if you put a frog in a pot and you boil the water, most frogs won't realize that it's hot
Right.
until it's low key too late,
Yeah.
so they can't jump out. They're just gonna boil in the water.
stuck.
And that's like human beings right now for all this quantum and AI shit going on. We all just chilling. It's gonna be too hot, and then it's like, oh shit.
It's gonna-
I should have
Because
learned
like-
about this
That
earlier.
shit already boiling in my
Flying
head.
cars.
No, that shit is
stem
getting
cell
crazy.
research,
Like, no
nothing
bullshit.
I
It's
was
a different AI
everything
for
is-
everything.
The
Everything's
difference,
open now.
Let me tell you, stem cells is so
Yeah.
crazy. The difference in stem cells now versus when I got my ACL surgery, I want to say 6 years ago.
Shout out ACL.
ACL.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I'm gonna tell you.
Weak knee ass
Look,
niggas.
I'm gonna
bro.
tell you. No. This real. I got 4 ACL surgeries. You know,
I don't got that many. You only got two.
I ain't
Only
feel
got
like,
two.
I ain't,
That
he love talking about
Hey,
somebody
that's
knees being
My
weak,
fault,
man.
bro, my fault.
It's all good.
shiny ass forehead.
Pause.
Yo,
Pause.
God.
But
Pause.
Okay,
but
shifts in
look,
stem cell
what I'm
research.
saying though, like when I was like one of the first, I was one of the people that was like tested like for stem cells on. So they took my ACL. They was trying to figure out, do we dip the ligament inside of the stem cells, or do we inject stem cells into the body, hoping that it attack what is supposed to attack the scar or attack the tendon to make it stronger. They made a decision not to inject it now. So nowadays they inject the stem cells into the person's leg a couple months after the surgery. For me, they had to actually take my ligament and dip it in there and then put it in my knee because they didn't know how the stem cells was going to attack within my body. So it's like I had a slight tear on my meniscus. They just did the ACL, and then I also had a hamstring problem as well. So they was like, if we inject this, are these stem cells going to go straight to his tendon? Are they going to go straight to the ACL itself? It was like, well, we don't know. So what we're going to do is, since we can't inject it, we're just going to dip it inside of the stem cells and put it in his body. And I don't know, that ACL tore too, so I don't know how well that worked. But I was part of that like
experiment.
So-
the research and the testing for that.
So is that
Yeah.
similar to when they stole the cells from that one lady to use them to study? Do you know what I'm talking about? They stole cells from. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They stole cells from this one woman, and they just used them to study them. And I think it killed the woman. Eventually.
That's OD.
What happened was and it was sad as this was Johns Hopkins University.
Dang, John.
Yeah, it's crazy. The family's still trying to get.
Yeah, like, they still ain't got paid
Lex
for
was
it.
A black woman who died from cancer, but she was supposed to die a lot later. Something about her survival made them very curious about at that time. How did she live that long?
Yeah.
So they took her cells so this is the argument.
They're still studying them
They
to this
took her
day.
cells without her permission, which is illegal now.
Whoa.
But
Because
the
they took it
family,
from the bone marrow.
their argument is that at the time, it's so fucked up. At the time they did it, it wasn't illegal. It wasn't illegal for you to take cells without consent,
Yeah.
even though
Because it wasn't a
It wasn't
normal
a
thing.
problem.
it wasn't a
normal thing.
law that you couldn't.
And it was so because they must have had to take it from the bone marrow. Because taking it from the bone marrow is extremely painful, and it's not something that people just do.
All I know,
Regardless, I know is that they did that shit free.
yes, free, and they shipped her cells.
Years.
Like, the reason people have not died from cancer across the world is because of
Her cells.
Because
Her cells
named
are still in
Henrietta
use
Lacks.
to this day.
Say her
To this
name
day,
loud
it's
so people
called
know who that is.
Henrietta Lacks. It's called Gila cells.
Yeah, there it is. He
He
knew what I
was-
was talking about.
That's crazy.
And actually, I've heard of that too.
I feel like I have, but
I
they
can
don't speak
I
like
can
that
see the
enough, but
spelling of the word.
That's
in
why
my
I feel
brain.
like the study of stem cells probably came from.
So
It probably
people not
stemmed
dying as
from
quickly
that.
as they were before.
Everyone that has had cancer
I'm not in healthcare, so don't take my.
and has
shit to
had
heart.
research and like chemotherapy, all that stuff, all that research came from Henrietta Lacks cells.
That's crazy.
But they
That's probably
stole
what it's
cells from a black
'Cause-
woman.
And then
They
they
was still
they
not getting reparations.
so like even
And her family has been fighting.
They're
Johns
still
Hopkins
fighting it
for
to this
years
day.
don't want to admit it.
about
Damn.
because they probably using her because I know they
That's
was
just
saying
what
they're
we
trying to
know.
the regenerated
Evil.
limb thing is like now it's getting bigger now, but it was like
Science
when it
is getting
first
spooky.
when it first like started becoming a thing was also when I had my second knee surgery, and they were saying like, the goal was to try to get they're speaking on lizard's tail, so you cut a lizard's tail off, it grows back. So they was like using the science behind that to try to use that to say, oh, we can regrow a limb.
what I'm saying.
See,
is,
speaking
if
of
quantum
animals,
works out,
they've also been
they
trying
figured
to.
that out pretty quick how to grow.
Yeah, they've
Nah,
been using
facts.
another
Literally,
animal.
the way y'all
So,
talking.
like, we need to talk about like what does that world look like? Like,
So you got to project it. Like, so assuming quantum becomes a household name,
yeah,
I don't know. So
people,
okay.
a lot of people are afraid of jobs being taken over.
Oh, that'll change everything.
So, like, do you believe that? Do you believe there's going to be no jobs or jobs changing?
I don't think AI. So AI is kind of like the conveyor belt or the industrial revolution. I think it'll change your job, but I think you'll lose your job
Yeah.
if you're not willing to adapt.
It's the next revolution.
I agree with
yeah,
that.
Like
I
the
think
assembly line.
quantum-
The assembly line got rid of a whole bunch of jobs when Ford first made the
If
assembly
you
line.
ask me, it opens up humans to be more human-like.
Exactly.
But people don't want to be human. They don't like thinking.
Literally, if you
past a
think
certain
about what
level.
jobs are, humans have been pretending to be robots. Now we
Yeah,
got
that's what-
robots that can
Actually
that.
do
They'll
it.
The
To where
robots
we
are better
can
at
focus
being
on
robots than
other
we are.
shit,
Yeah.
but people don't want to focus on the other shit because they're like,
Yeah.
bro, you took my fucking job, bro.
They too
But
worried
that's
on
what
the-
happened.
they too
in the
worried on the
industrial
wrong
revolution,
stuff.
right?
They
If
don't
all you
talk
could do
about
was
that.
screw on a bottle cap, right? You
Replaced.
You got replaced.
No, I heard one person say you just got to think bigger because, like, when people were on horses, the people that made the leather seats, when cars came out, they were afraid their job was going to go out because, like, now we can't make seats no more. But
You just gotta
then,
adapt.
With cars, there's more ability for leather with seats and everything
Exactly.
like that. So there's like
Steering
and on the
wheel.
side, like there's more leather. But you
Question.
weren't thinking about that pre the car coming out. You're
Yeah.
thinking
That's
your job
real.
finna get lost.
Now
So you
question.
gotta
Adapt,
think
adjust.
In the words
Um,
of the great Trent Miles,
Say it.
adapt,
adapt, adjust, and overcome.
Question though.
Salt your food.
So, like,
Yeah, there may be a test in 3 to 4 weeks.
No cap. No cap.
Get your
Salt
mind right.
foods.
Drink your
So-
water.
yeah, the way they say the way humans' brains worked in the past was a lot more powerful than they are today. Kind of due to the phone. Yes, we all know that. We all agree on that. But do you think that's like the number one hindrance in this? On the reason why people don't want to accept this change?
Yeah.
I
Because
feel
they
like
They say what easy times make soft people, hard times make, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
right,
I'm saying,
right, right.
like,
I
that's
also-
what it is.
I feel like
Yeah.
the lack of our shit right now is because of the lack of opinions.
But we're so much more creative though.
Not really, because people don't want to form their own
agree with
opinion.
that.
People
They
are
want to agree with
so
the majority.
yeah,
They
people
were
are
more
so
creative.
scared to go against the grain to do shit, and that hinders a lot of the shit that we can be doing. Like, for example, me personally, it could be a whole room of people saying one thing, and I can be that one person to be like, nah, fuck what y'all talking about.
I'm a believer.
I'm
I
standing
believe
10 toes on
Hey,
what
I'm
I'm
the
talking
same
about.
way.
And people are scared of that confrontation nowadays, so they just go with whatever the majority is thinking. And because of that, we're having more sheep-like minded people
For
just
sure.
going with the flow.
People are followers, and we have more of a microphone now to speak your mind. But I feel like, to your point, you're like, are we more creative now? I think we have more
depends.
We have more tools.
We have more tools
We have
to
more
be
ability
creative.
More
to be
efficient
creative,
tools.
but at
But-
the same time, we have more distractions than ever.
Yeah,
So
I don't feel
it's
like we're
a
more
battle
creative than our
between the
counterparts
two.
were before us.
It's way easier than ever to have nothing else in your life but your house, because you're fed, you got your entertainment, you got your instant gratification porn, all that. You don't got to do
Yeah.
nothing. So it's easier than ever to not do shit.
For sure.
It's also easier than ever to do anything that your mind can think of.
That's why. That's
You
why I
can
want to
be
say,
more
are we
creative
more
now.
creative now than we were back then?
I
would
don't
say
there's only
yes.
so much you can do.
I would say yes, because the creative person is going to be more able today than the creative
Well,
person yesterday.
Yeah,
There may be less of them because it's
depends on
harder to
whatever
be
society
creative.
they
It
were
depends
born
on your
into.
definition. Because if you're saying
What can you create? How big can you get? How much of a difference and change can you make based
Well,
off your thoughts?
you
and
have
how fast
like
can you
Well, if we're
tools
going,
that help you amplify what you're. I don't think that makes the
Well,
individual.
think of how
tools.
smart Iron Man was, Tony Stark, and what he did in that cave. Right, he's smart as fuck, and he got it done because he's just a smart nigga. Now,
But
think
he was
about him
creative
in the-
then,
I mean-
right. But think about him in the lab with Jarvis.
I mean, let's
He's
not
doing that
even.
shit at light speed.
But did that change Tony Stark?
No, but what I'm saying is there's still Tony Starks walking, and now we got Jarvis's.
I would
Right.
say,
But I don't
like,
think that makes
so-
the individual.
I feel like the innovation
More
it has to start from the individual
Yeah.
itself.
And there's always going to be the individuals that's going to push
like,
past that.
For example, like let's use Da Vinci. He was the person back in the day who was able to make all these crazy ass inventions with not even with less than 1% of the tools that we have
Right,
available.
and that's
to
a
us
great
today.
example because he was one of the first polymaths. That's what made
Yeah.
him like that. Polymath is the love of study. So he was one.
sure
of the
He
first,
doesn't-
like,
he doesn't-
to be crazy.
He
until
had a
after
lot of
he was
different
dead,
Exactly.
though.
random,
And all the
things.
other philosophers.
But he
so-
doesn't become more creative with more tools.
But he became more creative, with more access to more different
Now with that, I disagree.
strengths.
I feel like
so now you can have access to more strengths easier.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Questions
I agree with that
together.
point.
I feel like if Da Vinci had the necessary tools that we have today,
It might have
back in his disposal back then, the way that we travel and all the other shit that we know that he invented would be completely.
But I think
different by
everybody's
now.
point there is Da Vinci wouldn't be Da Vinci if he grew up with AI.
I
because
feel like he
wouldn't have
still
thought
would
that
be Da
deep.
Vinci, but his mind would be on some whole different
That's
other
how
shit.
I think, and that brings it back to the whole like USA China thing. I think you just have to teach children how to use it as a tool versus being afraid of it.
That's
why
valid.
China's
I'm
like
gonna
anybody
get
over 6 need to learn AI. US is still on the industrial fucking school system. That's just terrible.
So-
Honestly, AI is beautiful.
In my opinion, it just does nothing but elevate us. It
Like-
gives us more access. Yes, if you suck, you're gonna suck even more.
exactly.
And if you're good, you're gonna be even
Yeah.
better. Like
Like
Okay.
it's another AI.
That's how I
use
look
for
at it.
studying.
So I would say the trend is right. So what we've seen is we know we've had the agricultural revolution,
Mm-hmm.
we've had the industrial revolution,
Mm-hmm.
and we've had the technological revolution. And in each one of those, we've lost jobs. Innovation will always challenge and purge complacency
every time.
every time.
Mm.
Everything's good in this, but there's going to be another innovation later when we get older. And if we decide at some point we're going to be complacent later, we can get purged too. It's not about the time necessarily about because I don't think tools change creativity. I think tools unlock it. But I do believe that if your ambition has dwindled, if you are somewhat so like I haven't known you that long, but the nature of the things you say imply you may be content, but you're not someone that's ever satisfied.
I think that's
That's-
very
that's
accurate.
pretty
I'm sitting here like
Mm.
that
Pretty
sounds
valid.
extremely accurate.
So
Pretty valid.
if that's the case, then that's a hunger
that you still have.
that you're gonna have.
Forever.
And if you have that, then it doesn't matter about the innovation. You're gonna figure out, how do I adapt to what just happened?
It's gonna.
And my
boost your
point is, I
creativity.
think humans will forever be born like that. There are always going to be humans that are built like that.
And they're
Yes,
gonna
for
be
sure.
human.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest with you, and I'm sure everybody can like agree with this. You have to let people live on the level they settle for, because no one can want you to, like, even if you have a coach, right? Like, a coach can give you everything but the want to.
Right.
Ooh, yeah.
They
I
can't
remember that.
make
I
it.
know
I
you're
can't
going.
want it for you.
I
I
could put-
can't want it for you.
That's
Right.
a fact.
I could put you in the position, but I cannot make the play for you.
Exactly.
son.
Like, so I can tell you, I think, okay, you've stayed in this one job doing the same thing, doing this one thing for like 10 years, and you're good. But I can say over and over, I think something's coming that's about to affect
And I can't tell you
everything you're
how-
about to change.
I can't tell you how much I've seen that in the
And so, but if you don't want it,
It don't
if
matter
you,
what you tell
it doesn't matter what I tell you.
because they don't care that much.
If you
There's
want the
nothing to
status
change.
quo, because this old guy told me, I never forgot this old dude. He said, life is a race, and it's a treadmill. And if you stop, don't think, it's not just that you have to go backwards to get left behind. You just need to stop moving.
That's a
Man,
bar.
y'all don't crucify me, man. Andrew Tate literally I seen a clip of Andrew Tate speaking on life nowadays. He was like, everybody's lined up on a race. We're all racing. And once the guy shoots the gun telling us to go, and I take off sprinting, and he was speaking on like people talking about their depression and their anxiety, he was being a dickhead. And so he's like, I take off sprinting, and I look behind me and nobody else is running, because they're just, oh, my depression, oh, I feel bad about this, oh, I feel bad about that, I'm not even gonna start. So it's like, I'm sprinting, I'm going, and everybody's still behind me. Then what happens is I decide to jog, because ain't nobody keeping up. I'm jogging, I still look back, nobody has moved, they all stuck at the start line. Then I decide to walk, and nobody's still coming. So now I'm this far ahead of you, and all I had to do was walk. And it's because people didn't care. Like, they just they let the depression and anxieties keep them stagnant and keep them in the same spot. And I think that's what makes humanity's
Right. I think that's what makes
I feel like
creativity
humans.
die.
That's
I
how
feel
we've
like it's
always
that and the
considered-
lack of curiosity.
But there will always be that curiosity, and there's always
that
going to be
curiosity
those
can
people
naturally
that
be
do
there.
that. Like you said,
Not
if you ain't got it,
always.
it don't matter who tell you what it is.
Always.
It's
Not
gonna
always.
happen.
Not in everybody.
Curiosity is
Not in
always
everybody.
there.
But as long as humans are humans, there are going to be those small majority or small minority of people that got it. And it's always the small minority that changed the future. It's not the
That is
there's
very
always
true.
the
That's true.
royalty.
It's
That's
always
the
the
small
minority.
percentage that does shit, and then you got the peasants. Peasants ain't a negative word.
But
it's
the
just what
problem
it is.
is nowadays you have
You feel me?
complacent people setting trends.
And there's gonna be more
Exactly.
complacency.
That is
which
very
what I
true.
said, it's more easy to be complacent. But
Yeah.
like you said, if you ain't got it, someone can give you all the rules, all the playbooks. It don't matter.
If you don't
If
want
you
it,
got it though, it don't matter what nobody tell you, and no matter
you're gonna
what
go find it.
you gonna figure
You're gonna
it
find
out.
it. Even if they don't
matter-
give it to you, you're gonna
Exactly.
find it somewhere. You're gonna
Exactly. And there's always gonna be
hungry people are going to get fed.
There's gonna
They're gonna
be
find a way.
interest.
They're just gonna look for it.
it's
They-
the bell
That is
curve
true.
theory.
Right.
It's always gonna be a bell curve, bro. So it's
Okay.
gonna be these and these.
So with dealing with curiosity and then basing off of what we just said about it, and then I know that you read, I remember you saying that you read all the Abrahamic text and stuff like that.
yeah, absolutely.
So segueing off of that, so the Book of Enoch, have you ever heard of it?
Yo, that was
No,
one of the
I haven't read the book of Enoch.
Yeah, I haven't read it either.
Nah, that's-
I've read inserts of it. Like, what do you think about it per
What's
se?
the book of Enoch? Say
I-
so.
So the Book of Enoch is supposedly the book that happens before Genesis
It's-
in the Bible.
it's after Adam, right before Abraham. It's like a long
Yeah, and it's
text
full
that-
of
it's
a
like
whole
five-
bunch of shit, like the
it's 5 big
Nephilim.
texts.
Like, it's
To
basically
be honest, I have enough trouble with the books
Look,
I can read now.
Look, I'm gonna
in
tell
any way.
you, the book is. I'm listen,
struggling with the books
the
I
same
got.
way you feel. Look, I done restarted
no,
reading
like
the
the
Bible
Book of
too.
Enoch is like crazy.
But
So-
they say be careful about the book of Enoch. It's 5
mean-
different texts, and they say like the further out you go, the more off center it is. And
I
they
mean, you
can't
gotta think
date
about
it
it.
and range the later texts. But the first 2 texts that they say in that book is what you should be basing your theories around.
I mean,
because
that's-
it's
What
the only
made
one that
you bring
has-
AI to the book of Enoch, or like this tech
because
innovation?
everything
correlation?
always starts as like everybody always having an understanding of something, and then it always eventually changes. So, like, let's think about it. With the book of Enoch, eventually, at one point, it was in the Bible, but as time kept going on, people were like, you know what? This ain't fit
Was
to
it?
be. Yeah.
So
it was
there's been theories.
It was eventually. It was supposedly.
They said it wasn't in the book.
Allegedly.
No,
So-
so allegedly, what I read was it was in the Bible at first, but then they took it out because you got to think about how old the Bible is to begin with.
Yeah, the Bible's
The
crazy, though.
translations of it, first and foremost, are not going to be completely accurate to when
Mhm.
it was first made back in the day,
Mhm.
mainly because of language violation.
What was the first
I would
Bible
say
written
it-
in? Was
I don't even
Ab-
think it got to do with time.
It was
I was saying,
was
spread
it?
by word of mouth.
Yeah, so the
So-
way they used to tell text back, we had this conversation.
So I say, was it Arabic? I don't think it was Arabic. Was it Arabic?
I don't know
The
if
first
Arabic
No,
was
original?
a
it's,
language.
No,
first,
Hebrew.
it's Hebrew because the
Hebrew?
Torah came
Yeah.
first. They wrote the Old Testament first, then they wrote the New Testament. Not too far after, but like
So the Old Testament was written in Hebrew. The New Testament was like Greek and
Greek.
Aramaic.
yeah. But that's and so this is why
I think the
like,
point of that is, like,
Enoch
this-
wasn't actually they said that Enoch wasn't because the Jewish people don't really believe in the book of Enoch because the book of Enoch references Jesus, and
It
so
references-
they don't
yeah.
it references Jesus being God's son, and the Jews, that's like completely against their foundation. So their foundation is that Jesus is not the Son of God. That's why they have their own book. That's why like the Torah is literally the Old Testament because that's literally before Jesus walked the earth.
But honestly, I feel like with that though, I feel like we have a lot of gaps and shit because one of the biggest libraries at the time, the Library of Alexandria, was burned down.
Mhm.
So all of the history that we have predating that day is gone.
yeah,
Yeah.
So we have no way of being able to confirm or not whether
it was
that
actually
was actually happening or not.
Why they had to burn that shit down, bro?
man.
I don't
think that has
remember,
to do with
but it was
Christianity or
It wasn't during the
destroy anything
Crusades.
that
I
has
feel
to
like
do
it
with
was
that.
right before
It's a shame.
the Crusades
I
of
can add no value
Christianity.
to this. I can only focus. I only know Genesis. to
What have you studied?
I
What have
feel you.
I've studied. I mean, I've studied other. So in college,
Mhm.
I studied Islam, Buddhism. I studied the major religions,
Mhm.
but I mean, fundamentally, I'm a Christian. So I've
Okay.
studied more holistically
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
Bible in its current form.
Okay.
see, and I'm like you. I took a religion studies class
Yes.
in college.
I went to a
which is
Catholic school.
what brought me to understanding like one of them that's not even like so you got Christianity, you got Islam, and you got
Buddhism,
Judaism.
Yeah. Then the next one that I think that was like the closest thing to making sense in my brain was Hinduism. But that's just
You don't-
based off of my thought process on how it kind of like I'm just confused when it is Hinduism. I didn't do enough research into it to even make my thought processes now
Mhm.
and put them out on the internet for everybody to hear because they're gonna think I'm crazy as hell.
That's,
But-
that's honest. I
yeah,
respect that.
like the way I
Nah, I
think the
second
spirit,
that, though.
the way I think the spirit works in our head is kind of crazy. I think it's just a spirit because, like they say,
Yeah.
God already knows everything that we've already done. So like we got this little person, kind of like Get Out, bro, was sitting in the TV watching the guy live life. He's like, no, don't do that. Da, da, da. That's how I feel. Like sometimes I think that's how our spirit is because everything we about to do, we're literally just on for the ride because.
Yeah.
God already knows everything we gonna do.
I
He
feel
knows the
that.
choices we gonna take. We gonna make, and it shows that time and time again within the Bible. And I've been reading a lot. I've never read it from Genesis 1 to Revelations, but I'm doing that now.
I actually wouldn't even recommend you do that.
I'm going to do it. No, it's
Why not?
spooky. No, brother.
Oh no, Genesis. So because
It's
one,
spooky.
okay,
crazy,
Bible's
for sure.
Hey,
written by like 40 authors over a period of 400 years,
Yep.
and it's not so Job is one of the older books, but it comes
Mhm.
later.
And it's
Star
very
Wars.
short.
Job. So I would not recommend
Say like
someone
it's
read.
Star Wars.
Shout out Joe.
1 to
That's a good.
I wouldn't.
That's a good example.
I
Am I
wouldn't
wrong?
recommend someone
It is
read
like
it
Star
from
Wars.
Genesis to because one, it depends on what you're. So
It depends on what you're going.
what your purpose is. So if
Yeah.
you want to, so the Bible's like a narrative of
Mhm.
God's heart for his humanity, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So if I was advising someone to say, if you want to learn something,
Mhm.
I wouldn't say start with. I would actually say start with Matthew.
Yes, because
Like start with the story of Jesus
Just
first.
start-
Yeah, start with the
That's what
Gospels for sure.
Christianity-
So
Start
if you
with
were to
them first.
recommend someone to read it first, you would give them an order.
The Gospels.
now they
Yeah,
tell
I
you
would
they
tell
tell you to
people
read the
start with the
Gospels of
Gospels.
Jesus
I would-
Christ. That's how
because
Matthew,
Even
Mark,
with your
Luke, and
example like
John.
Star Wars, you wouldn't say like if you're gonna start the story, you would start
Yeah.
where Anakin is a little boy,
Yeah.
not going from whenever he's
From
the villain.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Old
So-
Covenant, Old Testament, New Testament. Testament is a will, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are not an Old Testament. If you're a believer, you're not under the Old Testament covenant.
Yes.
So you're under the New Testament. So
It's
I would
completely
tell you to start there because
Old
that's
Testament
what applies
got
to you.
wicked.
The Old Testament is
Testament
a
That's what that was the unforgiving God, right?
Bruh, nah.
No, he was more.
You know, he was
a
very
little
forgiving.
more-
No, wait.
He was more about his.
Pause.
He
I'm
was
gonna tell you.
more.
Yeah.
The Old Testament. Hold on.
God was like, "Oh, you gonna worship that?
Wait.
All right, got something."
Let's be real.
Pillar
The
of
Old
salt.
Testament God was actually extremely forgiving. People don't understand. He was just a lot more strict. So it's like he would forgive you, and he would continuously forgive you and forgive you and forgive you. He put the 12 tribes of Israel in the desert for 40 years and gave them time and time again to correct what they were doing, but never did they correct and actually stay corrected on the path. So what he did was his punishments were 10 times harsher.
So to piggyback off that, right? One, there's a verse that says the wages of sin is death, right? So that law does not change. Okay, what it's saying is, okay, God is multifaceted.
Mm-hmm.
He introduces himself as love, but he's also just,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he doesn't change, but he also can't contradict himself because that would make him not God.
He's omnipotent.
That messes with his faithfulness. So when we mess up in the Old Testament, they were sacrificing bulls and things because there has
Lambs.
to be blood to atone
The blood of the
for sin.
lamb.
Because
Right.
death. Your sin equals
Your
death.
sin there's a price you have to pay, right?
Yeah.
Because that if he doesn't call you to the price, then he's compromising his justice.
Mm-hmm.
But he loves you, so he had to like solve a problem. He's like, okay, how do I not compromise myself, but then save the people I love that I built? So in the New Testament, Jesus, he made a sacrifice. So now you're under grace. So you start, for one, you want to start in the new. You don't want to be in the Old Testament in general.
It's so spooky.
The Old
bro.
Testament.
The Old
There's
Testament.
no atonement.
It was the trench.
I've been
Yeah.
reading the Old Testament and it's been messing with my
trenches.
brain.
Yeah,
for
like
the
you
past
don't want to
3
go
months.
that way anyway.
It's the trenches.
You would rather not. So the New Testament, one, is the covenant you're on, and it's a superior covenant to be real. Like the best way I can say it, the benefits package is much better.
The benefits package.
The benefits package. Okay, so I would
weak
say
as
if you
hell.
read Matthew and then you read Romans,
Faith
I would say
is small
if
as
you
the
read
mustard
those two
seed.
books first, you have a good understanding of because Romans is your benefits package.
Yeah, that's crazy. My uncle told me when I was playing
Never heard
ball,
someone
the
break
number
it
one
down like
thing.
that.
My uncle always said, read Romans. Read when I was
Because
playing ball,
Romans is.
read Romans.
I don't care if
read
you're having a
Romans, read
bad.
Romans.
Everything that you will go through, Romans has an answer for. All things work together for the good. That's in Romans. One of my favorite verses in Romans, the law came that sin might abound, but when sin abound, grace abound all the more. What is he saying? So those I knew, I predestined. So anyway, if you come to me, I knew you before you got here. But I knew everything you would do before you did it. But because I love you and I knew you was going to come to a real, I knew you was going to have a stupid season and I love you. So I pre-padded your life with grace for everything you would ever do. So that, okay, for whatever you do wrong, I'm going to go in, I'm going to say, okay, I know David from there. He's going to have this, and this. So he's going to need grace here. He's going to need a lot of grace here, and he's going to need grace here. And he pre-padded it before you even got here.
Yep.
That's
The
in
way
Romans.
you just put that is great. That was great.
There's therefore now no condemnation for those in Christ Jesus, right? So when you try to do stuff right, there's a tendency to feel condemned. So there's a difference between conviction and condemnation.
Yeah.
Conviction is like, I did something wrong. Condemnation is like, I'm doomed for it. There's therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ. That's in Romans. Like all these things that when you have these internal battles, when you're by yourself, that we have these fights and nobody else knows about it. Like, cause we all have moments when we're by ourselves
Yeah,
that no one else, where we're low
for sure.
and we need some time. Like
Yeah.
Romans is one of those books when you are low, I would
Read
recommend
Romans.
I would recommend reading it. I guarantee you're gonna feel better.
Grace.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie.
But what's crazy is it doesn't start well. Like Romans starts by Paul kind of explaining, for lack of a better word, how fucked up you are. But
human.
he uses he starts by explaining because he's gotta destroy the pride of you thinking you're just better than everybody else. So
Pride
he aims the first barrel of the shotgun at humanity in general.
Yep.
And then after that, he starts talking about, but this is what you get by grace.
So with that, so it's like that thought process is kind of why I like it led me to just go ahead and read the whole thing through and through, because like you say, Paul is letting you know like the reason why you're in this situation is you. In the Old Testament shows you that time and time and time
It's a mirror.
again, and it shows you it in the best way possible. And it shows also the reason why I'm reading the Old Testament is because everybody speaks on what are the most famous names besides Jesus in the Bible? Solomon, David.
Yeah.
Both of those are Old Testament. Both of those are extremely early in the Bible. I didn't know that Solomon's story was like the book 3 or book 4, Samuel.
Yeah.
Like Samuel and King David was Samuel, Solomon was king.
Yeah.
Was king, first king. Yeah. So like,
Yep.
I didn't know that's like book 4, book 5 of the Bible. It's like, so yeah, like the beginning, it shows you how bad we can get, the worst of the
Because
worst
all
that
of
we
all-
can do.
So Romans again, all of sin. So Romans is only a problem when you feel like you're perfect, because
Yeah.
it starts by saying all of sin,
Mhm.
and he literally says, okay, everybody in humanity, we don't struggle with the same thing, but you struggle with something.
We all struggle with something
You
simple.
got pride, anger, lust, like you got a problem.
One of these.
One of these, and he actually levels the playing field. So one, none of y'all can judge one another,
Yep.
because on one hand, you may not have the same problem I have, but from God's perspective,
You
we're
doing
equal.
something?
You doing something,
doing
and we're
something.
equal,
Problem.
because wrong. It's like wrong is wrong, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I would say the benefit of reading the so there's like Old Testament is good because I'll teach you, like, okay, David is such an amazing story.
Some crazy
Shout
shit.
out David.
Because
Nah, he's a dope story, bro.
the story teaches you, if you've ever wondered what your purpose
man.
is,
David.
or why you can do a job but you don't feel fulfilled doing one. David's story is, you gotta think, this is a shepherd who is a pretty much a illegitimate child of his father. He doesn't have the same mother of
As
his brother.
Yeah,
And so his father treats him differently.
that's why they made him watch
So
the sheep.
he is isolated in his family. He is overlooked, and he is perceived as less than in his house. That is his experience in life. And because of that, David leans very heavily into his relationship with God, because that's all he has.
He has nothing else.
In his mind,
He's God in his sheep.
that's my it's you and me, because he's watching sheep by himself, right? A lion, like, you got to think about how screwed up David's situation. Like, a lion attacks, he has to fight off the lion because he's a shepherd. But think about, you have a son, a lion attacks, and you don't send the other brothers to help him.
Make him find out.
You
on his own.
don't, like, this is a son that is not thought of much by his father, but his other sons are thought of greatly. So he feels like he is lacking favor from people that he should not feel like that with his closest family.
Mm-hmm.
So a lion attacks, a bear attacks. He has to defend them. So God wakes up Samuel, which is a kingmaker, and says, okay, I'm looking for a king. And he finds a shepherd. He says, okay, him. But why? Because one, what you're doing before God calls you is kind of like, that's why stewardship is important. Nothing is wasted. So from God's perspective, you was willing to fight a lion for some sheep.
I get what you're saying.
If you're willing to die to protect some sheep,
What will you do for
I can trust you with people.
Mm-hmm.
Because look at what you're doing with what's less than.
Mm-hmm.
So since you can do things with a smaller, and then even in the desolation of your situation, because he's pretty much birthed into family dysfunction,
Mm-hmm.
that he has nothing, that's not his fault. In spite of that, you're still you've pretty much leaned on a dependence in me. So the dysfunction you had, the trauma you've experienced, you've let that lead you to a dependence on me. So now you care about people to the degree that you're willing to sacrifice yourself and you're dependent on me. And you're willing to, you might be afraid of a lion or a bear,
But you stand in front of it.
but you have enough courage in spite of your fear to stand in the gap on behalf of something else.
Exactly.
So from God's perspective, he's looking at him like, to me,
He's qualified.
that's a king.
He's qualified.
That's a king to me.
Yeah.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. The
He's
stories,
qualified.
the stories from David and Samuel. I mean, not Samuel.
That's why when I met you, I told you got a
Samuel's
good
the
name.
book.
That's what I was
The
like.
stories of David.
I'm glad you got to break it down.
I was like,
The
No,
stories,
I feel like
the
We
stories
got a
of David
similar
and Solomon
story,
are
man.
crazy though.
I ain't gonna
Like
hold you.
You and David in the
Low
Bible.
key. We ain't
they say, but they say a lot of humans
Okay.
they
Anyway.
tend to
High key.
they tend to try to relate to David's story the most. Like that's like a normal thing.
David's story is incredible.
But his stories, but a lot of the humans like
David.
people don't know David ran for his life for like 20 years or like a crazy it's like a crazy amount of time. Like he was running for his life from King Saul. Like
Who, this is what's messed up about that.
He
So
was his
that's
best
why
friend.
the story is so like if you want to know who you're supposed to be, David's out here catching sheep. Samuel goes to the his father's house, said, okay, God told me there's a king here.
Between your sons.
This is how little they think of David. He doesn't even, like, imagine your father. You got 8 sons. A man that you know, this man made the previous king. So you know this man has credibility. The last king is Saul, but you know this man chose Saul.
Yep.
You know this man is a kingmaker.
Yep.
David doesn't even get a call to try out.
That's like my pops. My pops.
Like, he thinks nothing of his son.
Because you got a different wife.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's like my pops. I got 5 little brothers.
Yeah.
My dad got 8 kids. I got 5 little brothers, 2 sisters. We got two different moms.
Yeah.
What's it called? King came, and I'm the oldest son, but my dad is married to a different woman right now. So that's like a kingmaker coming and saying, "Look, your son, your oldest son, is supposed to be the next king." But he didn't call me. He called my brother Colton, the one that's at Colorado.
Because he doesn't
Okay.
think
Because
much
he
enough
didn't
of
bring me to the table.
So with that thought, do you think religion doesn't advance unless somebody is radicalized to try to take it to the next step?
What do you mean by advance?
So, for example, like let's use the Catholic church as an example, the
Okay.
Catholic religion as an example. So before Martin Luther wrote the 98 Thesis on the door,
Okay.
the Catholic Church was very stagnant. I feel like after the 98 Thesis that he wrote on that door, I forgot when and where, but after that, the Catholic Church took the next step to advance into what it is today. So I feel like without a single person like radicalizing the religion to be able to move it to the next step, it stays stagnant and it doesn't become.
I think you're
know what I
right,
mean?
but I want to reframe it. There's a proverb that says, "The glory of God is to conceal a matter. The glory of a king is to dig it up." It's a powerful proverb. What he's saying is, I sealed truth
Mm-hmm.
in this book. I concealed. What God is saying is, I conceal things for you.
Mm-hmm.
But from his perspective, a king is not one that gets a lot of wealth and does all this. A king is someone that religiously has a hunger to unearth what I conceal. It's almost like God says, I hid treasure.
Hide
In
the
Revelation.
candy in the book.
I hid treasure in this book. I hid revelation here.
Shout out Gold Roger.
So
Shout out my grandma. She hid $100 in the Bible for me.
facts.
It had me
So
go
he was trying to
find
teach you something.
Yeah,
So,
my
My
grandma
pops
did
did
that
the
to
same
me.
thing to me. I ain't
so
seen
what
that
he's
for a long
saying
time.
is, from my perspective,
I ain't gonna hold you. I had 100 in my room for like a year. He's told me, I said, God,
Not God. This man is crazy.
I'm just saying, man, my fault.
okay,
But yeah.
so what I would say is, it doesn't need to advance, but you will live on the level of your revelation, and a king's revelation requires a king's hunger. That's what I'll say. And what I think is like, revelation doesn't cost you what the world thinks it costs you. It costs you hunger, meditation, study,
Yep.
like pondering something. Like, for instance,
And then you got to stay true to what you done found. That's the hardest thing about it.
okay,
Man.
one of my favorite verses, right? There's a proverb, and this is like, I don't care if you're in business, this should matter. He says there are 4 things that are small in Proverbs, but extremely wise. God doesn't highlight many animals in the Bible.
Yeah.
But he says there are 4 things that you should pay attention to as a person. One of my favorite ones is a lizard. What he says is, the lizard is small. It's not mighty. It doesn't have any terrifying features, but it can be found in the throne room of kings.
Because he can hide on the wall.
What does that mean? Okay, correct. Okay, so think about this. Do you ever hear a lizard?
Nope.
You just see one.
You just see him.
And they're on the wall, right?
Yep.
So what is he saying a person should learn from a lizard?
How to
Just
blend in.
observe.
Like you,
and
you
not
said
talk.
correct. Oh,
You don't got to talk. Just observe.
so what he's saying is,
Say,
if
excuse
you're
me, French.
willing to be quiet,
Mm-hmm.
I will put you in rooms
That
that,
you need
you're
to
not
be in.
supposed to
Yep.
be in yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people are so prideful, like you're not good enough to be in here yet. But I want to put you in rooms that agitate your appetite for the level I want to
Yep.
bring you to.
So that way I can bring you along and you see where you need to be.
Yes.
From yep.
So
But
you
you
go
got to
back
be
to
Where
quiet.
you
first.
need to be.
2,
Mhm.
do lizards walk in through the front door? Or do they go through cracks?
Through cracks.
They go through cracks in the window. So what he's saying is, if you're not prideful, if you're willing to not be particular about what way I get you in a room,
Mm-hmm.
I will put you. I will put you in
My
throne.
boy, you
room.
was meant to be here.
Preach,
He was meant to be here today, boy. Hey, look, you
I'm
said
locked
2
in.
things.
What's the
You
other
said
3?
2 things that my pastor told me. One, I've been said this. My dad told me, your name needs to be I'm shut the fuck up. That's your new name. Your name, I'm shut the fuck up. I'm like, damn, why you said it? I'm shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I'm shut the
that-
fuck up.
Two,
But that
it's two.
follows
It's
up.
2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, bro.
Hey.
So it's like, bro, as long as
You
you
been
can
letting
listen,
grandma.
bruh.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm saying. Like for you to kind of break it down like that, but I take the elementary version. Nigga, it's 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Shut the fuck up. Like make sure you shut up
My
so you
grandma-
can listen, and now you gonna learn way more, and you gonna be able to see way
Bro,
more.
my grandma used to tell me that, and I'd be like, "But Granny, I could fit both ears in 1 mouth and have more room."
Bad.
And I be
Can't win with him.
Back to what you said. What's the other 2?
Okay,
What's the
the
other
last thing is okay. I'm gonna
I thought it was
let
3.
you extrapolate on it.
It was
The last
3? My bad.
Okay, so the first one is they are seen and not heard.
Mm-hmm.
2, they're not particular about
they
because
get
what he's saying is don't care about. Does it matter if the method? If I got you in the room,
Ooh,
Yep.
if I
It
got you
doesn't
in the back
matter
door,
how
the
you
front door,
got
the
there.
window.
It don't matter.
But
how
are you in the
Are
goddamn
you in
room,
the
nigga?
though? Are you in the room though?
I
The
get
last
it.
one,
I
you
get it
said
though. I
they
get it.
stick to walls. What does that mean from a think about? Okay, translate that to a human. What is he saying?
blend in.
Go deeper.
Not even blend in.
Stick to wall. They stick to walls. What does that mean? They
You're not being seen, or you're unconventional.
go deeper.
Nah, the wall can't be taken out. So if you're stuck to the wall, you're always in the room.
Are they only stuck on walls, or can they climb trees?
They can climb the tree.
They can climb a tree. They can
they
climb a
can do
wall. They can
anything.
climb glass.
Oh, they can climb anything.
What does that mean though?
They can go in any room.
Stick to whatever surface I put you on.
That
wasn't where I was going with it, but
That was for you. That one was for Blaine.
Meaning stick-
That's for Blaine. I ain't gonna hold
Meaning,
you.
whatever.
don't
So that-
be so.
You was in the finances industry and you was doing crazy well. Like you was going crazy before
Oh,
everybody even had an
oh.
opportunity to even look at $1.
Oh, I see what
And
you're
then you left what you was doing crazy in, and you went and jumped in the trucking industry. But you was doing good
Oh,
in
yeah,
trucking.
yeah.
But you was doing. You would have been
I see
and
what
where you would have been right now if you was in finance. Be real.
What he's saying is
I see.
be comfortable with unconventional methods.
Ooh.
Because
comfortable with
maybe
being
the method
uncomfortable.
I put you in is tailored to your personality and the way I wired you. So stick to whatever I put you in a season.
That's a bar. So what's
Bro,
the other
yeah,
3
bro.
animals? I ain't heard this.
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay,
say, that's
it's
what I was saying.
so the verse
He
is
breaking it down.
I'm fucking with it.
ants. He said ants are small but extremely wise. They gather in the summer and you never see them in the winter.
They
You,
sleep.
if you think about it, you don't
They
see ants in the wintertime.
They stay at home.
So what is okay? I'm
be
gonna play.
Baby burrow.
What do y'all think that means? Come on, Kings. Go deep. Go. Okay, what does that mean?
Reap and sow.
Basically, kind of like when things are good, you prepare for them to be bad.
Okay,
When things are bad, you prepare for them to be good.
excellent.
That
Okay,
goes with.
so take another step. What does good and bad mean? What are ants? What does that say about discernment? You're on the right track. Go deep. I'm saying go another level. Take it a step further. We're gonna go deeper.
They grab things that are non-perishable.
Now go deeper. What does it mean when something's good? Think about the seasons. What's a good season?
Reap and sow. Spring and winter.
Harvest season.
What is that? Okay, combine those two. What does that mean?
Spring harvest.
You grab enough. You grab enough. Oh, you
No,
grab.
you
grab
said
enough to last
spring.
the winter.
He said reap and sow. What is
New beginnings.
Combine them. Combine the two.
Stack
grab
all
it.
winter so I can shine all summer.
It-
That's what I was just saying.
literally. Okay.
That's
thought
what I meant by
we
not
said,
perishable.
But I'm
What he's-
missing what I'm missing. I feel
What
like
he's saying is discern the season you're in and act accordingly.
Act
Ants
accordingly.
always do that every year.
Accordingly. Okay.
So
Mm.
they take ants know when spring is here. They know when summer's here. When things are starting to shift a little left in your life and you feel like fall is here, that means winter might be coming.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody has summer, spring, fall, and winter seasons. I don't
I've heard
know
this.
y'all, but you done had up seasons and you done had
That
down,
down
seasons,
season.
and you done had some in the
Fuck.
middle.
Mm-hmm.
So you done had seasons where you're on the way up to the top of a mountain, and you had seasons when you're on the way down to the bottom of a valley. What he's saying is that is a pattern for the rest of your life.
We was
Damn,
just
not
having a
failed.
conversation
God,
about this, but it might not.
that-
It wasn't like we was speaking on it from a aspect of like from women in a sense though. So like when you figure out those patterns in your life and you like, all right, cool, like we know what we can do. We know what we done did, and then you know like when it's like, all right, cool.
it's time to go into hibernation.
It's
and,
time to
yeah,
go
just
into that
tweak.
work mode,
Yeah,
but you done been through the seasons
Yeah.
to where you know, like,
Yeah.
all right, cool, that's what it looked like then,
Yeah.
and this is where I'm at now.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like, and I know what came next.
Yeah.
So now when it get like that familiar again, now you like,
Been there. It's
I done
season.
been there. I know what's about to come next for it.
Yeah, it's having
See
the
what I'm saying?
discernment to know what season.
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
in.
having the
What
discernment
he is
to know what
saying is
season you in.
extremely
Yeah.
wise people look at what's going on in their life and say, what season am I in?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And because of that, what is the wisest course of action in
now.
this season right now?
Mhm.
Makes sense.
So am I winning like crazy right now? Okay, I shouldn't be spending it all.
Right.
Am I losing like crazy right now? I need to stay in a little bit. I need to be seen a little less. Don't be exposed in your
Yeah.
worst season.
Yeah, it's like I like trading. Is it a bull season? You should be doing calls. Is it
Exactly.
a bear season? You should be shorting.
What he's saying
You
is
should know
be
what
like
it
the
is.
ant. Manage your seasons well.
Shout out.
Shout out to ants
Shout
and
out.
lizards.
Shout out ants.
Ants and lizards. What's
Answer
Shout
the-
out the little
so
guys.
the other two are straight. So the other two,
Shout
one
out
of them
Fetty.
was the hardest one for me to get.
Shout out
He
Fetty.
calls the next animal is called a hyrax. I had to look this up. It's a rock badger. It's a rabbit that's native to like the Middle East.
It's like that Pokemon with the shells.
But it's like it's basically it's a
You know what
straight
I'm talking about, right?
rabbit.
The armadillo one, whatever looking
Yes.
Armadillo.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
imagine the armadillo with no shell.
type. That
They-
look like that Pokemon.
So the thing, so what he's saying is the thing about hyraxes is they don't have any defense. They're pretty much a prey. They're pretty much completely vulnerable.
Looks like a rat.
Yes, but they make their homes in very steep, sharp cliffs.
Can't-
What is okay? Y'all turn. What is he saying is extremely wise about that? Think about this as an exposed animal that has no natural defenses. It has no defense of its own.
You can't really grab
Puts
it if it's
himself
in
an
that cliff.
environment
Bro.
that most people can't get to.
Yeah. You
Bam.
Yeah.
He's saying it knows its vulnerability,
Mm-hmm.
but more so, it knows where to run. But it's also extremely alert. So, in order for a hyrax to survive, it has to be extremely aware of its surroundings. It has to know when a predator, a hawk, or something is around.
Oh,
And then it runs into a crevice.
same shit as a
Keep from getting
meerkat.
got.
It knows its strengths.
Make your hiding place a shelter. For a Christian, that means
Going to
run to God, like run to me. What he's saying is,
pray.
when you are
doubt,
in
come
trouble,
here.
come to me.
Mm.
Psalms, the name of the Lord is a strong tower, the righteous run to it and they're safe. Like what he's saying is, this safety is outside of me. There's no degree of safety because safety requires a degree of control. For instance, I can be the safest driver in the world. I cannot stop a drunk driver from running into me.
That is very true.
I cannot. I can do a whole bunch of stuff. I can't stop myself from going to a place where active shooting happens. Right? I don't have control over anyone's actions in this room. I can just control my actions. And if we be honest, we don't always do that well. So
Yeah.
what he's saying is know where your resting place is. Know where your hiding place is. Make your home where it is safe to run to. That's what makes them wise. They know their vulnerability. So that's another like humility check. Do you feel like you're untouchable? But the thing is, when you know you can be touched, you're like, okay, let me be aware and know, and then let me know where to go and hide.
Yep.
And the last one is a locust. And this one is one that plagues
A lot of
our
bugs.
people.
A lot of bugs.
Yes, it is.
2 bugs.
Two bugs, a
reptile.
badger, and a lizard.
Interesting.
So, it says the locust has no king, no leader, but they move in unison. So, I had to look that up. So, the reason pesticides exist is because the sheer damage. Okay, farms, acres, right?
Mm-hmm.
A swarm of locusts can get rid of a farm in minutes.
Facts.
They can eat your entire
Facts.
crop in like locusts are like a dust
It's a dust.
it's like a cloud of bugs.
That's what he sent out on Enoch too.
And
What was that DreamWorks movie with Moses?
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's
Now
what
It
he
was
said.
Locusts.
That was
Prince of Egypt.
he
That's one of the
sent-
best movies ever made.
He sent,
Yeah,
he sent the
facts,
locust.
facts,
He sent the locusts out.
But locusts
Sent the
are real
locusts.
like
They're real.
farmers have to be very cause that's why they spray
About yay
pesticides.
big.
They like bugs this big and it's like a cloud of them.
Yeah.
But what he's saying is they don't even have a leader and they know how much damage they can do together. So that one's kind of easy. He's like, there is a destructive amount of ability in unity.
Strength in numbers.
Yes.
Ape
And they understand
together.
it without a leader.
Strong.
On apes together
Ape,
strong.
ape
I was
alone.
calling-
Weak.
Keep it here.
Shout out my nigga Caesar.
On God, the niggas be mad. When I be
God.
talking about the monkeys. Niggas be-
What that boy Ray say? What that boy Ray? What Ray say?
tripping. Apes together strong.
My boy
Nah, you just went crazy right there, my boy.
So
I ain't
no,
gonna hold you.
those because those are
That's
those are
fire.
some of my favorite like
Fire.
it's actually very, very rare God mentions an animal or something that you
True.
should mimic.
I've heard he spoke on. They say unicorns, but he's really talking about a rhinoceros or something. I thought he talked
He
about
spoke
other-
on snakes.
snakes too. Facts.
Spoke on
Satan.
snakes.
Yeah.
He spoke on doves. He spoke
Mhm.
on lions, and he
Mhm.
spoke on those 4 animals.
Now, granted, in the book of Enoch, there are a lot of mythical creatures that are mentioned in that book that aren't mentioned in the rest of the Bible.
Interesting.
So in the book of Enoch, from what I've read and seen so far, they mention mermaids, giants, the Nephilim,
The
and
Nephilims are mentioned.
fairy, and any
They're
in the
mentioned.
Bible though. They're mentioned.
yeah, and then
What is the
any.
Neph-
Well, the Nephilim are
It's-
mentioned. They're like
it's-
giants.
The Nephilim
pretty much.
is supposed to be a human being that's father is an angel and mother is a woman.
So
So
there was
like
They're
fall.
giant.
So like
Ain't-
Hercules.
Yeah.
Yeah,
angels
so the
they're
fall,
huge,
like Lucifer grabbed a third of the angels. They fell
Brought
to the
them.
earth.
and they had sex.
This was funny, right? The Bible literally says they even saw the women and thought they was good. to sleep.
On me,
what
that's
this-
exactly what it say.
That's how good
Exactly.
we got down here.
That's how good. That's how good the
fine,
women
you know what I'm
is.
saying? Women are a problem anyway. So
That's a fact. That's a whole.
And they all
they
admitted-
saw
Women a
how
problem
fine the
anyway.
women. You
Man,
know what I'm
women a
saying?
problem, boy.
If they saw how fine the women were, thought they was like, yeah, they good to sleep with.
Yeah, we
And
finna
they-
go and go crazy.
And then
The
the
Canaanites.
original set of angels that fell, that slept with women, they had children. Those were Nephilim.
Those were the
Right,
Nephilim.
okay,
Yep.
yeah, for sure. That's the
But
that's
yeah.
the whole that's the mixture of the Greek goddess and stuff like that.
That's how you
that's
get Goliaths
technically-
and 9
the
foot
Greek
people
god-
and stuff.
Not
that
just
Greek
but any
mythology
of the
shit.
mythology
That's
type of thing.
technically different.
But it's like in the same.
But that's
He's
his-
saying in the
but
sense of a
but yeah,
divine-
he's,
The
God's
that's,
coming
spiritual
down.
that's for his
being, but
understanding.
Concept.
Yeah.
He's bridging the concept.
Yeah, that's his
And then
understanding.
it goes off into its own separate study of cryptozoology.
Interesting.
I love
Crypt
crypt.
zoo?
Yeah, cryptozoology is the study of cryptids, which is basically the study of an animal that is not that may exist but hasn't been proven by scientific facts. For example, the okapi. The okapi was an animal that was thought to be fake at first as well. It's an animal that looks like a deer that has zebra legs,
I've
but
seen
once
this.
you get to its torso,
I've seen this.
it's like the torso's like a reddish brown, and that was thought to be fake at first until it was found.
I've seen that video.
So it's a lot of things like in cryptozoology, like, okay, well, this was once thought to be a cryptid. How do we know that this other stuff isn't expected to be real? Like, for example, mermaids and anything else in the ocean. I feel like in the ocean right now, we're only at about like 30% like totally
less than
discovered
that.
and mapped
It's less
out,
than that.
It was-
and
I
that's
think it's
being
less than that.
generous.
Yes.
So to go ahead and rule out that we don't have any intelligent life down there is absolutely ridiculous.
That ties it all back to the quantum and AI type shit, because that's one of the main things they're building is technology that's able to explore shit that we ain't never been able
I
to
don't
explore
think we need to
before.
be
Yeah,
exploring.
but the
We
thing
ain't supposed
is,
to be down there.
Yeah.
for
you know what's
that.
even
We're
There's a
going down there though.
But this
know
is
what's
the
even
thing.
crazy?
There's a reason why people are going down there and they're not coming back.
But I
It's
think
not fact.
well,
they're
no,
going down there.
You know what's
and
even
he's
crazy?
not coming back.
You know what's
for a
even
reason.
If you get to a certain degree of pressure in the ocean, there is nothing we can build currently that can
that can
survive.
go under there.
It just
And you got
like a
fish
can.
just swimming down.
I'm already
So
know.
They
I don't-
bones is
so
good.
think about it.
I'm good. Whatever down there can
When I
So
stay
think
down
of
there.
the ocean, I
telling
think
you.
of as above, so below. I think space is equivalent.
I don't even think that because what the
very close.
fuck made NASA go from studying the ocean's depths
They said fuck
to
this,
being
let's
like,
go
bro,
up. Yeah, yeah. They said fuck that.
I don't want to mess with
I
that.
don't wanna
fuck
got
they got going on under the sea.
I
We finna go to space, nigga.
got scared down there in that
I
ocean.
saw something down there, cousin. I would not fucking with it, my boy. We finna go up there.
They said let's drive a phone to dry
I
space.
don't want to know nothing about what's down there.
I don't want to mess with no white.
See,
They
all
our
I'm
body
saying, like me-
70% white.
We going there though.
See, no, a nigga
something
like
we're
me,
all gonna know
I
soon.
want to know what's down there. That's
We're
why.
gonna
That's
know.
one thing I
Yeah,
wish
your
that,
curiosity might be your downfall.
Yeah,
but I ain't
exactly.
gonna
I wish.
hold
I
do.
wish that
I do.
exploration.
I
Do
do.
I want to know yet? Do I want to go explore?
No, I don't wanna go.
No.
I
Nigga,
wanna
yes,
know though.
I do. I
Look,
wish exploration was
There's
still
two things that they try to say.
I'm
They-
Not
cool
gonna
on
come
going
back.
down.
So look, there's
I
two
wanna
things
know.
they say.
You
If you
can't,
go,
though, bro.
we want to. Elon Musk
Yeah.
wants to go to Mars, and a
Can't.
lot of these other people want to go down deep in the ocean.
Mars is a whole.
So look, they say this: if you go out to Mars, you technically can't come back because of the difference in the pressure at Mars versus what it is
being able to take off again.
Yeah, taking off is one thing. That's like a fuel problem, but there's also a problem with like just like going in the ocean. It's a pressure problem. Whereas like if you go out
You're not
there, the
coming back.
pressure is different, and your body has to adjust to the atmosphere and the way that Mars is set up and built. That if you try to come back to this atmosphere, you won't survive. You wouldn't make it. And that's the same thing with the damn ocean. You go down deep enough, you can go down there, but you can't come back up because the pressure from coming up is the problem.
You gotta go a lot slower than what you did going down.
But even going a lot slower, you still
Watch
get
stuff.
it still
Yeah, no.
crumbled up like a can, bro. Like
See, I
Why?
get that, but
That's
also when it
a
comes to Mars,
46
my
predator.
understanding,
I've always.
Well,
I
let me
feel
see.
like Mars had
What's
like
that?
Aliens
forehead.
know?
So okay, so they don't. So there's giant deep sea squid, right? They can't survive at this degree of pressure, but
Yeah.
they've washed up in different,
Exactly.
like 40. They've measured one like a 40-foot predator.
And their only natural
Like-
predator is the sperm whale,
But that's the thing,
They're
is, right?
aliens.
who can go down there.
What if down there a squid is not the baddest thing down there?
Exactly.
Like-
That's the only thing
Right.
that's
Like-
been able to come up.
That's the only thing we've seen wash up.
Exactly.
let us
there's
know.
a reason. There's a reason why the squid was able to wash up.
And what
That
killed the
motherfucker
46
died.
Squid?
Right,
That
right,
motherfucker
right.
And you gotta
died.
think about it.
Exactly.
It died.
So, for
and
example,
it came up here.
the great squid, its only natural predator is a sperm whale. And we don't have a single video documentation of a sperm whale actually hunting a giant
'Cause
squid.
they go too deep. Like,
Yeah,
we
they
can't-
go too
we
deep
can't-
for us to go down there. So all we ever see is the scars and the aftermath of what a sperm whale looks like after fighting with a giant squid. But what the fuck if that's not even a
Like,
giant
what's the
squid
version
that is fighting the
of a-
motherfucker,
What's the
bro?
version of a shark?
There's
Like
absolutely
in our
no
version of the
shit down there
ocean,
that we
a
don't
squid is not the meanest thing out there.
Squid ain't
Exactly.
nowhere
What
near
if
the
that's
meanest thing.
what if a shark? There's a shark version. that's
Exactly.
Like,
Like,
no,
Looking
I'm
at a
good.
squid, tell me that's not the
Like
best.
for example, like let's say the
There's
megalodon
something
is
stronger,
still real.
for sure.
No, like there's
Yeah.
something down there
There's
that's
something
big.
stronger.
Y'all seen that thing off Nemo?
Stronger.
Y'all seen bro off Nemo
Like
with
the
little thing
megalodon.
and
The megalodon was a great white shark that was around like 40 to 50
They
feet.
go down and they make sure whatever comes
Nah,
down
the
there don't
dinosaurs are
come
still
up.
that deep.
I'm
Nigga,
good on
I
that.
believe that it's still stuff that exists from the dinosaurs' times in underwater in the
Yeah,
in the
You
real
don't have to
big
believe
depths
that. That's a fact.
because we got crocodiles and alligators today. It was species of crocodiles and alligators back during the Jurassic and
Exactly, that's what I'm
Cretaceous
saying.
period.
Yep, yeah, that's a fact.
So for people to be like, "Oh no, all of the dinosaurs done went away," woot woot woot, shut the fuck up, because that's just being ignorant and denying facts that are clearly here today. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
Like,
last week you wasn't here. My boy, he don't believe in dinosaurs. How do you feel about that?
honestly, I feel like
Don't sugarcoat it.
Keep it hot.
Keep it hot.
Don't shake.
I don't feel like dinosaurs weren't there. I feel like they were there due to their skeletal structures. But however, I don't feel like they look like how we think they look like. So
That's
for
what I
example, if you just look at a skeleton of a rabbit right now, and then you would just like look at it and think of how it would look like, it would not nowhere near look like how we think of a rabbit as today. So for us to think of like dinosaurs and T-Rex, and we always give them like super tight skin and like basically make them like a big ass lizard, they may not look like that in actuality.
Right.
Because a lot of dinosaurs
Yeah,
have,
that's fair.
like a lot of birds today have a lot of relations to dinosaurs
Pterodactyl.
back then. Like not even just like even pterodactyl, like just regular dinosaurs. A lot of dinosaurs back then. I think it might have been closer to the Jurassic era, to where they started having feathers. They'll be covered in feathers, especially depending on the environment that they were in. So I don't feel like we didn't have dinosaurs. I definitely feel like we did have them.
Just
but
not our
I
depiction
feel
of
like
them.
they don't look like what we thought they looked like today. Because right now, like, it's lack of imagination at this point. We don't know what they look like. So, given their skeleton, we're just giving them like a jacket of skin and some muscles, and be like, all right,
It's our
fucking
estimation of what they might.
Exactly. Like, so, like, let's say,
Are there any cave drawings of dinosaurs though?
nah.
They drew like woolly mammoths and shit.
Now the Ice Age is this whole different bag of fucking treasure chest, because you got to think about it. Back during the Ice Age,
Nerd out, Dre.
the humans honestly were at the bottom of the food chain.
Yeah, I fuck with him.
You got to think about it. So
He
like,
giving it to you.
He's animated.
You know what I'm saying?
so
Like,
for example,
art of storytelling.
there was a bear called the short-faced bear, right? On its hind legs, that short-faced bear was like 8 foot. So, and then it was skinny, so it wasn't like looking like the bears that we know today. It had
It's
long
like muscular,
legs,
right?
and it was slim. So if that motherfucker stood up,
Nigga
it
look
can,
like a
it can
hoopah.
hit you with these open 5 fingers and slap the shit out of you. And then we had ground sloths that were roaming around at like 12 to 8 feet. So, and then like the sloth today in the Amazon forest is them short little motherfuckers.
Oh,
You
yeah,
can't
yeah,
imagine
yeah,
them
these just
being
walking
the
around,
top of the
getting
food
shot.
chain back in the day.
That's getting.
Hey.
That's gonna. If he ever came back, he going extinct again.
Are you talking about the short-faced
we
bear?
gonna have to
No,
finish this off.
like you gotta think, like we're at the bottom of the food chain. The only thing that helped us during the Ice Age was literally the temperature getting warmer. If the temperature did not get warmer and cause the climate to change and animals' food supply to go shorter, shit would still be spooky for us. Because you still had the Smilodons. You had
How long you not been holding on to this information? I ain't never seen.
Bruh.
Bro,
No,
Drake's
honestly-
knowing all this weird ass
Smilodon
facts. That's
is
why he's
crazy.
perfect for this.
Bro, honestly, nah. As a kid, I wanted to be like another Steve Irwin and shit. So as a kid,
I was too.
I went to animal camps,
Yeah,
like to where I fed every single animal that you can think
Bro,
of.
animals are amazing.
I studied every single animal that you can damn near think of. I can go into a zoo right now and be able to pinpoint every single animal and let you know where they're from and what their diet.
Nah, I fought with it, bro. I fought with that so heavy because I swear to God, I was on the same trajectory for the longest. Animals was my route. I
Yeah.
thought I was finna be a vet until I realized that it was going to the school for the same amount as a doctor for none of the bread, and I realized tech and business, and I just kind of was like, I'm gonna get money and get a farm.
Well, mine stopped because I had my 9th grade teacher. I still love you, Miss Franklin, but she fucked up science for me. And then after her, I had a.
Yeah, I want the
Yeah,
story.
niggas.
I still
Right,
love you
right,
too,
right.
Miss Art.
What
But
happened
my
with Miss
10th
Franklin?
grade-
We got enough.
Oh, Miss Franklin class.
It was
That
just
shit.
tough. It was just hard.
It wasn't even that it was hard. It was more so like we just weren't learning the shit that we were supposed to in the way that we were. So it just went against everything else. She made it harder than it was for no reason. And then when we're trying to tell her that it was harder than what it was for no reason, she didn't heed what we were saying to her. She was like, bruh, fuck what y'all talking about. I'm finna still teach it the way I want to. And then as a teacher, you got to be able to take criticism and be able to adjust your classroom to the better way that your students are learning how to go about shit. And she didn't do that. And then chemistry after that, chemistry, if you had chemistry, you already know how crazy shit gets.
Right.
AP Chem
Chemistry.
and Bio at the same time. I said, nope.
I'm
Yeah.
not with Kim,
I'm
man.
done.
Yep.
This is what
I'm
college
not
is
a
like.
science
I
No.
was gonna say,
bro.
at Georgia State, I walked into
Yeah.
a chemistry class, bro.
Yeah, I'm
Sat
cool.
down 5 minutes,
I'm cool.
got
I'ma
up.
tell you-
I went straight to what was his name, Ron. I said Ron.
Nah,
This ain't-
I'm gonna tell you,
This ain't it.
the class that did that for me was anatomy, but that was just because the teacher told.
Now
us.
anatomy was cool.
Nah, man, my teacher looked
Anatomy
at
was
us. He looked dead. Actually, I was the only black person in my class, bro. This man looked at me and he said, "If I catch anybody in here cheating, I will make sure you would never touch a human body in your life."
Oh wow.
And everybody, anatomy is a class where everybody in
You
there.
going to health? You want
Everybody's trying to be some type of health professional. You're either trying to be a nurse or you're trying to be some type of doctor. I was trying to be a doctor at the
That's
time.
a class they were trying to weed you out.
Yeah, that's a weed out class for sure. That boy said, "I don't care if I catch you, I'm going to fail you. You're going to drop the class. I know you're going to transfer to another school. I'm going to find you and send a letter to that school making sure that they know that you got caught cheating in my class. I will make sure you never touch a human body." I looked at bro was dead looking at me. I said, "Drop." Ooh, I ain't never go back.
I have another theory. So I feel like a
Figure it
theory that humans have the uncanny theory. So the uncanny theory is like when we look at something that's humanistic and we look at it and we low key get scared from it. Like looking at it, we're like, I don't like that shit. It looks too human like. For example, like let's say you had a younger sister, she had a whole bunch of baby dolls. And you go into the room, they look real lifelike, and then you get low key like a little weirded out. I feel like this comes from the theory because it was more species of human beings back in the day. It wasn't just Homo sapien. It was like I think it was 7 different species of human back in the day. No, I think it's a fact. It's a fact because they got them at. It was like 3 different kinds of dwarves. Neanderthals were their own separate species of Homo sapien, and then it was other levels of Homo sapien that it was.
It made me think
The way we are now is just the one that survived.
Yeah,
Neanderthals were actively hunting and eating the other
human.
Homo sapien species.
Nah, they say there was like a mini one, like they was like
Yeah, there was
the
dwarfism.
tallest was like 4 foot.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it was like homo. I don't remember the name in Latin.
They was
Off-
that's what I say
but
they
I've heard
lived
that.
in Latin America.
But
though.
yeah,
that's
like
what
it was a lot of
like
dwarf.
in the
That's
Amazon.
that's why we got dwarfism to this day. Like the trait
what's
didn't
crazy?
just come from fucking nowhere.
Mm.
It all happened because we were all this
Right.
separate.
Well, they try to say
species
it's
To
like,
tie it
it's
all
like a
back,
mess
I
up
feel like all
chromosome.
these like concepts and theories we're talking about, we're about to have a little more
knowledge.
Knowledge
we're gonna
about it.
really know what has happened and what may be around. So
Yeah,
gonna
that's why I
open
feel
up
like we
so
got
much.
the
But why do you
uncanny
say that?
theory. The
'Cause
reason
of
why we're
quantum
scared of
computing.
things that look so human-like
We
is
can do the
because we
math.
were actively hunted by
We
something
don't
that
know the
looked
math
so
yet.
human-like
Mhm.
back in the day. Like for another instance, like the third eye that they say is in the back of the head. We
I
feel
thought they
somebody.
say it's your penile.
It was another eye that was supposed to be in the back of the in the back of our head back in the day.
Mm.
That's another reason why when you feel somebody walk behind you, that's another
Mhm.
reason why you can sense it.
Since the-
Because we used to have an eye back there that used to be able to see that
And
shit.
those
I feel like
receptors
that's
are
not
still
just walk
going.
behind. I thought that's like you have an energy bubble that's kind of around you,
Like
so you can
sixth sense.
feel like when
Yeah.
people get close to you.
Exactly. So like,
you're
it's
putting
still,
off that at all times.
but yeah, it still goes on
it's
with
stronger.
that eye.
It's stronger.
Yeah.
back
So
here.
like, if the eye was still there, you'd be able to see that shit completely.
Yeah.
He's
But
listening.
like, it's just shit like that. Like, I don't know. I love that. I love talking about this kind of shit.
no, I could tell.
Cause the
we
shit
can tell,
opens up.
bruh.
It opens up your
I fuck
mind for
with it.
sure.
Should be having a nigga thinking. He be having a nigga thinking.
Said when people get to yapping for real, like
You
to
get
just shut the
quiet.
fuck up. And
I
just
shut the
listen.
fuck up.
Nah, same. I just
Nah,
been listening.
And the
That's
thing
why
is,
when you said that lizard thing, I looked right at him because he done got in some doors from doing what he doing right now.
Shut the fuck up. Cause look,
Yo,
this is
just
what I'm
listen,
saying.
bro.
You gonna
I'm
listen.
telling you, bro.
I'm listening, and then we
Yeah.
might have a conversation later, and I might
Mhm.
say some shit that you said, and you didn't think I was listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
nah, yeah, me and
So
Sid
that's
done
what
had
I be
plenty of these
Yeah, that's how I
conversations.
be. I'm listening.
Sid know what I be talking about. When I talk about this shit, I go on a rant for a while.
Nah, he done opened my eyes to a bunch of shit.
Man, that nigga
Like,
get the
No,
rabbit.
because like the shit, everything that is so like in our world right now is a lot of it is black and white. When
I feel like
everything that we
most
deal with in our world is not black and white at
But we
fucking
got in an
all.
argument about that one time,
About what?
bro. Because I'm like, bro,
Things being black
there's
and white
not
and gray.
much shit that's black and white. I'm like,
You said that it's
majority-
not black and white.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
said it's not
I
black
said
and white.
majority of this world is a shade of
It's,
gray.
it's
Exactly.
gray.
Like for example,
There's
like
very few
oranges.
things that are black and white.
there are people that would swear on their mother's grave that the paranormal or that side of the things don't exist. But then you got people who have actually seen paranormal shit. Like for me, example, I've seen ghosts. I've seen stuff that has moved, and I've been like, ain't no fucking way that was supposed to move without somebody touching that shit. And I understand that there's probably a whole nother realm to shit that we probably don't really
So-
understand.
My question is, because when he brought up the quantum thing, and so that kind of goes into supernatural. I'm like, do we truly believe that the quantum is going to be able to solve every single thing? Because what if they're just supernatural forces that can't be solved?
Well,
or
everything
Not
is-
I
everything,
think
but
we-
it's
I
gonna
think-
solve
I heard,
a
I
lot.
don't know
A
if
lot
I'm
of stuff
saying
is
I might be
based off a
butchering
math
this,
equation.
but it was, hold on, it was a very strong quote, and it was like the questions that need to be asked or what is truly important are questions that we don't even know exist right now. It's like
Yes.
not what are we asking, it's
Exactly.
like what are we not asking.
Exactly.
That's the real.
So it's all about like what do we
question.
know?
And they might
now
get
and
us
the
to a
knowledge that
point
we have
to-
to be able to ask the
yeah.
questions
I
that
see.
we don't know.
It'll get us to ask questions that
Oh,
we
I
may not even
see.
be fucking thinking about.
Got you,
Exactly.
got
So
you.
if we're
Okay,
not
okay,
at the
okay.
intelligence
Yeah.
level to be able to ask the question to figure out what
That
we
needs to
don't
be-
know, then we're not going to ever
see.
know.
That's like that
What we
book, The
don't.
Hitchhiker's Galaxy, bro. It's like it's a great
It's a
book.
dope book.
That's why I fuck
I
with
need
the
to read one.
It's a
supernatural.
good book.
But basically, the basis of it is like someone trying to figure out the answer to
It's
life.
actually got
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, and at the end, it's like the computer's like the answers for you. too.
Exactly. And how
Basically,
thin,
that's
Yeah.
just basically saying that you don't know what question you need to be fucking asking.
Yeah.
yeah, and how
It's
thin the
like-
layer is
yeah.
between like the supernatural and the living, and how like we low key still live on the same plane, but one of us, like let's say the supernatural can still see us, but we're not able to see and perceive them unless they do something physical in our world.
Mhm.
So I feel like to be able to find the bridge between that is going to be able to come from a question that we're not necessarily.
Are we gonna still
asking yet.
consider it supernatural once we figure out?
Oh,
beginning,
most
yes.
definitely.
At the
so.
beginning,
it,
yes.
it
I
will
think
still be
as time
supernatural,
goes, it won't
but
be.
I feel
I feel like
we'll
200 years
eventually-
from now, when it's just the norm, like
we'll
oh, yeah,
eventually
that's
find
the
It's
It's
reason
gonna
why
be.
we see
It's
those.
so hard to predict, bro. Like to predict what's about to come is like
it's
the
hard.
internet first coming out and someone predicting Uber. Like, and that's just a small bit.
It's
of it.
so
Like,
hard.
It's just like
So
I think all this is
Yeah.
based around a math, some sort of math equations, because math has solved so
math
Yeah.
is the language of God.
Yeah,
yeah,
Math,
Yeah.
is, math
That's-
getting
Yeah.
spooky.
and that's my
But-
number one thing. Like,
going back to what y'all said earlier about being black and white in society, does everybody here? Did y'all watch the Boondocks? Did y'all?
Yeah, of
okay,
course.
yeah.
okay,
Of
but
course, that's a staple.
okay,
Salami,
but
eggs, and
historically
bacon, my
speaking,
nigga.
Aaron McGruder was a genius. He should be mentioned in Black history.
For sure.
I would love if y'all get a chance. There is an Aaron McGruder interview he did for some students called "Redefining the Image," particularly for a statement you just made about the nature of society today. He made this speech maybe like 20, maybe like 19. Like, it's crazy how Aaron McGruder blew up when he was like 20 writing the book. Like, he was so young writing the Boondocks.
Most of
But it's
the
on
great
YouTube.
philosophers were in their 20s.
He was young. Like,
Aristotle
if
was-
someone,
hold on, let me look.
I would love to like y'all go back and watch "Redefining the Image" by Aaron McGruder.
Redefining the image.
It's on YouTube. It's an excellent. For one, it shows why he's so brilliant.
Mhm.
And also it gives his stance on information and truth and what he feels like the challenge of tomorrow is. And I would
Writer
love
of
to
the
see what y'all
Boondocks.
think.
It's such a shame that the Boondocks ain't around no more.
yeah.
There's
Well,
so
he
much
talked about
content
Ahead
they
of his
could've put
time,
out.
bro.
There's so much content they could have went crazy with.
The reason,
I'm gonna look
picking
that
on
up.
what y'all was
so we gonna
saying,
put that
though.
on this.
Okay,
saying,
so
like,
Aristotle was
most-
not young. That nigga was 62.
Okay, maybe that, there's a lot of like great thinkers and philosophers that
I think-
were in their 20s.
I think it
and
starts
I
in
know
your
what you mean,
20s
though.
when you become that, when you decide to be the person that thinks outside of what everybody else.
Going against the grain.
It's yeah, like you've been saying.
Like I said
I think
earlier.
it's
Like,
way
and
before
that
20.
also,
yeah, it starts when
think
you're
it's-
that rebellious kid that it's like you're the rebellious, you're like the smart bad kid in school.
They say
I
you
think
know
that's
who
the
you gonna
case,
be
but
at
at
8.
the same time,
G.
they didn't live as long, so I
won't
think
say
they were
that. I thought I was
accelerated.
in the league.
You feel me?
I mean, temperament,
Oh yeah,
is
I didn't have
psychologically
True.
speaking.
That's why I said
I
I
used to
think it
challenge
may
all
be
my
a little
teachers.
skewed because their life span was so much shorter.
That's true.
They had to lock in quicker.
Yeah,
I
that's
So
feel
like
like
a
it
30-year-old
depended.
today may be like a 15-year-old.
I also
That's
feel
a
like
good
it
point.
depends
That's a great
on
point.
The time.
where they were in that time period. So like if they're in a smooth area where the temperature's fairly fair year round, like Greece, for example, like Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates lived till they were damn near 70. That's a long time back
At
in
that
the
time of
day.
day.
Yeah.
Fun fact: that black
And
person,
let's say, like, if you put that,
Aristotle studied in Egypt. He
Yeah,
learned
yeah,
everything he did in
That's where
Africa.
you learned the Pythagorean.
He
So if
learned-
you put-
Pythagoras also
Yeah.
studied in Egypt.
so like in that same
they went to
time,
Egypt.
they learned in Africa.
in that
the
same time, let's say you have somebody in, like, let's say a colder country that gets colder, like Denmark, Switzerland, the UK.
Iceland.
And you have people over there who are philosophers. Their lifespan will be completely different due to their environmental surroundings.
But that makes sense though, because that goes with everything they say about the Pangea theory and how
I believe Pangea
world
wholeheartedly.
You can tell how they
Yeah.
look.
You can definitely
Yeah, I was
tell.
gonna say they fit each
Like,
other. Yeah.
Oh God! they
What I'm
look
getting
like
at
Now
though
that-
is like
yeah, I
the
believe.
reason why they would study, because they say the Sahara Desert was always a desert. So it's like
It wasn't. It was a jungle.
It was a jungle. Yeah, they said the Sahara Desert was a jungle at first, and now
believe
it's
that.
the reason why it's a desert. They say that the Sahara Desert goes through 100-year spans where it changes. So it's like a 100-year span where it's a desert, and like a 100-year span where it's like it gets rid of, it's working on getting rid of the drought, and it becomes a jungle again. They say it's been a thing that's been going on and off over time, and it kind of like makes sense when Pangea was a thing, because when you look at it, for that top part of Africa to completely be a desert but be attached to Italy and Greece, it doesn't make sense for that to be a desert.
With the
Those
geography of
places-
the way the other things are.
those places are thriving islands with trees, and they're like good climate. Like Amsterdam, the weather in Amsterdam was crazy, and Amsterdam wouldn't have been that far from Africa if you closed Pangea.
So that's another good point.
We moved,
because-
but you got to think when Pangea spread,
moved so
it moved
far.
off the equator, and that's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
the weather
And-
like. Yeah.
and that's
Which
what I'm
makes a big
saying,
difference.
Which is
Right.
why, and that's why I think the Sahara Desert has lasted for so long.
Exactly,
now
because-
of the switch.
Indeed. This is plant that actually grows here in Georgia that grows, I forgot what the fuck the other country was. However, regardless of that, it grows there, but those are the only two places that it grows, in Georgia and the other country that it's in. And for you to say that Pangea wasn't something that really happened, how would you be able to explain that this one plant is only able to grow in two of the one of climates, either in fucking southeast United States or all the way across the world? There's no other way that you can really logically say that before the age of exploration. You know what I mean? Because during the age of exploration, like for example, that's how the Spanish brought palm trees to the States.
Florida.
Yeah,
Florida's like the only place with palm trees.
exactly. You know what I mean? And then there's a whole bunch of other plants. Like for example, when I was doing
sense,
volunteer hours for Trees of Atlanta, I was finding out there was a lot of the trees that we just see every day. A lot of those trees are not native
Yeah.
to the area that we're in right now.
Yeah.
They're coming from all over, and that's just become exploration and just immigration from way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I mean? Shit like that.
But yeah, man.
Niggas have gone all over the place with the convos. Today.
Boy, what? I'm
right,
ready
right.
Some
though.
great conversations.
You just gonna be hell.
This might be a
at it.
part 1, 2, and 3, bro. I don't even know. We gonna
Facts.
split
Part
this.
1 with my dog. Man, stop playing. Better come back.
I
Just
would
layer it up.
love to hear, like, I would love to. I've studied Aaron McGrew a lot. I would love to hear what you all think on redefining the image. Like,
Nah, we
I
definitely.
think that's
Look
an,
into it. I'm gonna look into it for sure.
I think that's an excellent.
We can make that a part 2.
Because I mean, we could just literally talk about the brilliance of what the Boondocks is. Because everything he did, Huey was based off Huey Newton, right? Like everything he did was intentional.
Huey knew what the fuck he was
He
doing.
knew
every
exactly.
single episode.
Every character was a very.
He knew the
intentional-
cost,
crazy.
he knew the
It's funny,
consequences,
my-
and he knew what it took to get to the
My,
destination he wanted to
my
get
pops, one of his best friends growing up, he low-key rivals Buddy
Yeah.
because he was the first black illustrator to get on a newspaper.
Dope.
The Peanuts, Franklin,
Yeah.
the black nigga,
Okay.
he was written after my pop's like best friend growing up. And when he was coming up, Eric, whatever, he was the first one to like take over for real, take the limelight, and it kind of took him away from where he was. He actually just got his first special with the Peanuts, like that's that Franklin shit.
Yeah.
That's him, that's his stuff. But like he be beefing with Buddy low key because he took his light,
So
like
my-
because he's
Tough.
crazy. He's fine like the I got his
Tough.
book. It's signed upstairs. He's the artist. He's dope.
So
Yeah.
my question after y'all watch it would be, what do you think the state of information is now, and how do we determine truth given the way truth is filtered? Because Aaron Magruder makes an incredible statement in the interview. He said, "Truth is not what news is.
It's
He
not.
said truth is what you censor.
Honestly,
Perception versus perspective.
I
Said
feel
truth
like
is what you
gotta
is
watch
what you prevent from getting out. That's
Right.
what Aaron
Right.
Magruder's point was in that
Censoring.
interview.
Yeah.
I feel like truth is written by whoever the victor is. For example, like
Yeah.
so let's say like Hitler did win World War II.
Okay.
The way and the things that we know about
Cryptic,
today
but okay.
could have been totally changed and altered into a way that Hitler wanted it to be, and he wanted to shape history in his own image.
Mhm.
So based off of that, history is based off of whoever wins the fight.
I agree.
So I also agree with what you're saying as well. But
Strong ass.
I feel like history is written by the victor.
But I'm saying, does that still hold true to like what he's saying as far as with the
I mean,
like?
I mean,
and
it-
we
yeah,
ain't watched the speech, so we can't answer his question.
No, I think.
That's what I'm getting
But
at.
judging, from,
That's what I'm like,
True,
what are we thinking about? We ain't watched the video.
I
I think that's really gonna be-
That's why I'm like,
Nah,
and I'm using the first one.
Boondocks is legendary.
Nah,
Boondocks
Boondocks
is
is
I'm
dope.
like, wait, what are we answering?
It's one of the best shows.
We
ever.
need Boondocks
It's
today.
part 2.
Like
No,
it came out way ahead of its time.
No, that
I think that Boondocks
Aaron
shaped
McGregor's
a
incredible.
lot of
Yeah,
the Boondocks
facts.
shaped a lot of the black youth of our time frame.
But I
think
also
so.
feel like
in a strong way.
I think it's it's no stretch to say it might be one of the greatest satires that has ever been written.
Oh,
Hey,
might
my
be,
mama
bro.
watched the Boondocks.
It
If
might
it's
be.
not the
pissed.
greatest satire,
So
I just-
were they more so foreshadowing or telling things from
the
the
R. Kelly, like how
No,
much
they
did
would-
he
they were
predict?
foreshadowing, right?
Foreshadow
Instead of telling from the past.
They on that South
It's
Park shit.
foreshadow past
That
and what's
Simpsons
going on.
shit.
right
Simpsons,
now.
the Black
Simpsons.
Simpsons,
And
The
South Park.
Popeyes chicken sandwich thing. He
The
did
Popeyes
an episode
chicken,
of
nigga.
people tripping over.
and now
That
and
KFC
Tyrone,
episode.
yeah, Tyrone. What is it? What's the show? The movie with
You know what's crazy?
Jamie
The
Foxx?
foreshadow. They just hit
They
the Girl
cloned
Scouts
Tyrone.
with some shit talking about how they a fucking mafia and whatnot, and they had the Girl Scout cookie one that Riley episode.
Yeah,
The Girl Scout cookie.
And
Yes,
it was,
bro.
yeah.
They made it since they was as a mafia.
And now
That
they
was the
talking about
spin
that
on
now.
it. Was they just hit them with that, saying they a whole
when
mafia.
Ed and
right
Rummy
now.
was robbing
Oh, God, the
neighborhoods
Girl Scout
because their
cookies.
dad was trying to sell alarms.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
So
come
so
on,
They had a
man,
mixture of
like,
everything, present,
on,
past,
So it's like,
future,
what is
all that.
like, who is he?
Yeah. So another
I'm
thing,
being
I-
for real.
They be having crazy questions.
Foreshadowed so much.
Like,
He's a
who
smart-
is he
he's a
for
smart
real? Because he
motherfucker,
foreshadowed,
bro.
but the whole show was like foreshadowing
Yes.
so
There's
much.
a
shit.
reason why he stopped after 4 seasons.
So I feel like today,
They came back in
You
like
think shit was getting
2015 for
spooky
like
with
one
the worst
season.
episode?
That's what I'm
Y'all-
saying. Who is he?
There's a reason why he stopped
It
after
might
4
get been
seasons.
spooky.
That who is he,
There's
bro?
a reason why bro stopped. That show was too popular to shut off in 4 seasons. I know the bread
That
he was
shit
making
was
was
crazy.
buku.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
listen,
He
bro,
was getting breaded for
Bruh,
sure. So
he
he
had
stopped
the-
it for a reason.
he had all 4 seasons on disc at Target as a black author for a black show showing nothing but nigga shit and craziness. Like, bro, this shit was sold in Target, nigga.
That was a crazy.
I had my
Now-
mama sit down and watch it, and my mom was like, "Hold up, what are we watching?" And I was like, I was like 8 years old, had
I
my
used
mama
to
watching
sneak
it.
watch that because my
Now-
people wasn't letting me.
Oh no, I
No,
that's
yeah.
my mom into
Yeah.
buying all
Yeah.
4
I was
seasons.
Oh God, bro.
I had to sneak and watch that shit,
this.
too.
1:30 in
You're
the morning.
Yeah, I finessed my
I'm
mom
on
into
the code
buying
and
catch
it.
that shit on Adult
Well, it
Swim
wasn't.
West.
It was really my little brother
Yeah,
Jacob.
bro.
My little brother Jacob finessed my mom into buying it.
Bro,
Now, I
my
feel
older
like-
cousins, they was all on that shit.
No,
I'm like, what the
facts.
fuck is y'all
Hey,
want? Bro,
shout
yeah,
out to
bro.
Chronic Bitch Dependency though, for real.
No, facts. Facts.
Nigga said chronic bitch to pit.
Chronic
Shout out.
bitch dependency.
Nigga said homies over hoes. I take a lot of shit
Now-
over hoes.
I feel like
I see you,
homies?
cat. I see what you was trying to do.
Nah, he was.
I feel like today.
He said, I take it. What do you say? I take a turkey sandwich over a hoe.
No,
You don't need help.
But homies? Nah.
Not the one missing the picture right now. Like,
now I feel like today
On
our
your
modern
feet.
day, our modern day Aaron, it would be Peel and Ryan Coogler.
Who? Aaron? What?
Peel got a new movie that's about to come out. That's about
Peel?
to. That's
I
I
say
hear
Peel,
what you're
yes,
saying. I hear
cool,
what
but no.
you're saying.
Jordan
but
Peele.
Jordan Peele got a
no?
movie that's about to come out. It's crazy.
Is
It's a whole different
excellent
lane. You
writer.
talking about that football?
I feel like
Yeah.
Coogler does it
Though.
in a way to where it's not. He's not going to throw it straight at you in your
It's
face.
a movie.
He's going to make you like go back and like deep think about the messages that he was putting into his movies.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like
Lot
Ryan Coogler does.
lot deeper.
Now Jordan Peele's going to
Peele's
put it right in
definitely-
front of Broadway for you, so you don't
I
got
like-
to
I
too
like
much.
Peele.
You don't got to
I
do
like
too much
Peele.
deep
Bruh,
thinking.
this new movie that
but I
Peele
feel like
gotta
both
drop-
of them together is like what we both need as a community to be able to have those movies and concepts to where it invokes us to deep think, and then the movies that also put it plain in our face, so that way we can be able to see what's plainly in our face to invoke the deep thinking that the other one is trying to give us to do.
I think both of them send messages. Okay, so I think all three of them send messages that they hide very well with their. I think Peele uses horror.
Peele
does.
I ain't gonna lie.
He
When
likes
you
that.
think,
Very
when you
good
really
way.
think about
He don't
Peele,
know horror.
He likes to use horror and suspense.
Yeah.
Peele isn't horror, but
Suspense in a
his
very
stuff really
unique way.
scary though. I ain't
Like-
gonna
like
hold
It's
you.
not scary.
It's not
What's that
scary,
other
but when you
movie?
think about it,
eerie. It's
when you
eerie.
think about
You
it
think
though,
about the
it really
messaging,
It's
sits.
reality.
It's
It's
extremely scary. Extremely
It's
eerie, like,
scary
it's
because
eerie.
it's the reality that we're
Exactly.
living, but
But
he's
that's-
painting it in a
He paints
portrayal
yeah.
into where it looks fictitious, but it's not. That's
not,
the
and that's-
reality that
and
we're
that
living
is
in
the-
our day-to-day life.
Jordan Peele, hey, boy. But look, because like even from the like, I just keep wanting to go back to this new movie that he's about to drop. I don't know
Talking about
why.
the football joint?
Yes, bro.
Oh, I feel
don't-
like I'm gonna get scared watching that bitch.
bro, I'm already
It's
scared,
gonna unlock a lot of reality.
bro. But this is the thing. It's
Wait,
Shit
it's
that
a
we
lot-
already
it's
knew,
stuff that
but
we
he
already
gonna
know.
bring-
That's
he
the
gonna bring shit to
problem.
reality.
A lot of,
Yeah.
a lot
Oh,
of,
you
lot
gotta-
of bullshit. That
And
that's
that
gonna-
we
that's
know
gonna
about.
bring it to
They
Broadway
not
for a lot
ready
of
to
people.
talk about.
They not ready.
to have
It's.
the
I think
conversation.
he's too soon to drop this movie, bro.
It's
I
gonna-
think his
it's
shit
gonna-
about
it's gonna
Shador
shake-
Sanders.
No, honestly,
Chill.
honestly, with the way
I think about
Chill.
Shador
no,
Sanders and Tom Brady.
no, with the way football is
'Cause
going
he had
right now,
the coach is black,
Chill.
and
Yeah.
then because
The
he said he
player's
used,
white.
I think he's I
No,
seen somebody-
Marlon Wayne, he used Marlon Wayne.
Marlon Wayne's
right,
the coach.
but the thing is, the coach
quarterback
is black, and the quarterback is
white.
white.
It's the reverse.
It's the
no,
Yeah,
Marlon,
I know,
no,
but listen.
Marlon Wayans is the player
Chill.
he's looking
Yeah.
up to.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what I'm
what
saying.
I'm
That's
saying. He's
I feel
Shador
like-
Sanders and Tom. That's why he's trying to
Yeah,
say
so
Shador
I
Tom.
feel like
First, though.
that
Let's
shit
not
is
put
coming
that
out.
Oh, no, that's fine.
I feel like that's coming out at the
He caught
perfect
it.
time right now.
It is low key.
That shit-
They know what they're doing, bro.
That shit's coming out at the perfect time, especially with the way that sports are right now, especially for college. The way they are right now
Right.
in front of us with the NIL, as much as these players are making, as much as they're on our
It's too
screens
soon.
now. That the way he's coming out with this movie right now is going to be able to paint a picture of people who aren't in the sports world, who don't know how that shit
Bro,
works.
they
It's
know
too
what they
soon.
doing.
We
with this
all
time,
know how
bro.
that shit works because we all played college
He's
football, so
too
we already
soon.
knew that shit. So to us, it's going to be shit that's just reiterated.
Yes.
But to the people who are looking outside on the
Yeah.
way in, it's going to be opening their eyes to a lot of shit. Like, damn, I didn't know these players were really going through this. I didn't know this was
Bro.
some of the shit that y'all had to go
They
through.
don't be-
Bro, we said all the time. We used to think football was politics, and this is gonna get sweet in the real world. Like, oh, that prepared us for
Nah,
everything
Right.
is politics.
Bro,
dog.
everything.
Everything is politics.
we was
Love,
talking
every
about
God,
football
man.
being the
We thought it was the wig. No, the life is the wig.
Right now.
It's like, nah. Oh,
Shout out
Everybody
to
was
Wig
going out to
University.
practice. We was going to practice talking about, so we got to go practice for the Wig University.
all this
Wig.
shit.
The Wig University, man.
Thanks,
All
bro.
this
Everywhere like
bro.
that.
Oh God,
The
bro.
whole
That's
world
the
is
third
the
cup, bro.
Wig, man.
Damn, bro.
Even working with my people, the Wig.
I ain't gonna lie. We might need to end it on that.
Shout
It's
out to Wig
10:30, man.
University.
End it on the life of the
Okay.
wig.
So
bro.
what you
It's
mean?
like, I
We gonna be
appreciate
clicking
you.
on- Hey,
No, hold on. Say if you got anything you gotta say to the people as far as like where they can reach you, if you want to shout out your company, anything like that. I don't know your ad name. If you good on that.
I'm good on
For
that.
sure. We'll cut it
what
before
I'll
that.
say is
You good.
grateful to be around a bunch of other great brothers that's also succeeding in this industries. Thank you, D West, for the invite, bro.
Thank you for coming, my
It's
boy.
been a pleasure.
For sure.
It's been
Yeah,
a
we
pleasure,
appreciate
bro.
you, man.
Yeah.
Boy.
For sure.
The knowledge you
thank
put
y'all.
on us, man,
You
that
went
thing's
crazy,
gonna
my
stay
boy.
forever, bro.
facts,
I don't think you understand.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that you gave us today is stuff that I've either heard a portion of from people or my
Exactly.
people's, or you've tied the knot or you've closed
Made
the
it come
loop.
full circle.
And so I appreciate you being out here, man.
Mhm.
We,
So,
Well,
I
crazy.
thank y'all for having me anytime, man. I would love to come back. I mean, it's a
Oh,
blessing
yeah.
to be here. I think this is
Facts.
special.
You here in the beginnings. You
So,
see
I
what
mean,
we in right now. You
yeah.
feel me?
I
We
mean,
gonna
nah,
elevate for
it-
sure.
You can even
matter
come
the
chop it
vibe.
up off
We
camera.
gonna
Hey,
elevate.
check me. The vibe's incredible. So I mean,
For sure.
y'all see it, man. You see what black men are out here doing. There's a different narrative out here.
Yeah.
Big ups to these brothers, man.
Yeah.
These are future leaders.
appreciate you.
Okay.
Preach.
Future leaders in their industry. So pleasure to be here.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, my boy.
Appreciate you.
dog.
Yes, sir.
And this is
Yeah.
Eskimo Productions. Like, comment, and subscribe. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok,
hey,
all at
hey,
Eskimo
wrap it up.
Productions
Wrap
1.
it up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Not